continuing the tradition.
Here he goes. See you later. And he's got it. Touchdown! Touchdown!
ABC Sports Championship Television.
Well, Keith, late November here in the Palouse. It's Apple Cup time. This game is not for the BCS. It's not for a bowl game. It's just for the people of the state of Washington.
Pride. It's a kind of an event, I think, that divides the state. It amplifies that geographic division of the Cascade Mountains crossing the state. Those big city folks on the other side and the sophisticated country folks over here, you know. It's a fun thing. I heard several people talking about the different things that it means. It doesn't mean any more or less than Michigan, Ohio State. Lord, you in that Civil War, how many years? And I know that you lost 8 in a row.
Well, I'm sorry you brought that up, but we won the last one, my senior year. And to me, I can walk through the state of Oregon and know that my Ducks beat the Beavers that last time.
Well, the Cougars are sort of sitting in that same fix, aren't they? They've lost 6 straight to the Huskies. Those seniors have never tasted victory, and I'm sure that they would be very proud if they could go home with a win in this one. But all college football rivalries have their own flavor, their own feeling, and their own level of intensity. And this one gets pretty warm about kickoff time.
And that kickoff time's coming right up. So it's the Apple Cup. Bundle up, partner. Ready to roll.
No baubles, no beads involved in this old rivalry this year, just pride. The 97th game between the Washington Huskies and the Washington State Cougars being played this year in the Palouse country where the Cougars live. Now here is Colonel Todd Harris to pull the trigger of the mighty cannon and set the day in motion. And here come the Cougars into Martin Stadium. Washington State 4-6 this season. The Cougars have been a mash unit at times this year. A season of what might have been for them. For Coach Bill Doba, it's his second season. And seared into the souls of his players the fact that the Cougars have lost the last 6 straight games to the Huskies. It is a reported sellout for the stadium. The University of Washington returned some 300 tickets. And all things considered, that was a small number because the weather earlier in the week was a bit tacky, especially coming over the mountain passes. But today it dawned clear at 28 degrees, and it'll stay about that for kickoff tonight. And now the Washington Huskies, who are wearing the white shirts, are about ready to emerge from the tunnel. Their game captains have come onto the field. The referee, Dave Kutaya, will assemble them in the center of the field for the flip of the coin. They play on the field turf here at Pullman, and so the footing should be good throughout the game, no matter if it does get down into the middle or the low 20s before we are finally done. For Keith Gilbertson, this is his final game as coach of the Washington Huskies, and a job that he coveted so much. He talked to his team on Thursday, and here are some of those comments.
Well, I mean, we talked a lot about this rivalry and how much it's meant to the Washington men that have played this game over the years, and how intense it's been. And just my experience with this game is that you watch 2 teams on film, on video, for 10 games, and then you watch them play this game. And a lot of times they're not the same team. And I think youngsters have to know that the opponent's coming at you with everything he has because he wants desperately to beat you, and I feel that way about our people going at them.
I got a hunch that there's a little more oration going on in the clubhouse because the Huskies have yet to make an appearance in coming out of the stadium. But Keith Gilbertson leaves the head coaching job at Washington with nothing but appreciation in his wake and a lot of friends who wish him the very best. His original coaching job as a head man was right across the border here from Pullman, 8 miles away at the University of Idaho. And he remembers that fondly, and last night in our conversations with him where the team stayed in Moscow, he recalled some happy days there as well. He's a man that is filled with joy, even though this is his final day as the Husky head man.
And the one thing that Coach Gilbertson talked about is that this team, to win this game, could salvage their season. Only be their second win. But look for the Huskies to play loose and carefree this afternoon and evening. A lot of trick plays, perhaps. The problem, though, for Gilby, can they execute the trick plays any better than they've executed their regular offense and defense throughout this dismal season?
And it is dismal because the record is 1-9. Now again, Todd Harris.
Well, Keith and Dan, the Huskies coming in this game limping. Literally, all 4 of their season captains are injured and will not start in this game. Actually won't even play in this game. Couple that with the fact that Coach Keith Gilbertson suspended starting linebacker Scott White for this game for what's being called infraction of team rules. So the Huskies are that much thinner on defense. That could make this spot the busiest spot on campus during the game. Now, after every single Washington State score, this 75mm cannon is shot off. They told me they have enough rounds. As long as the Cougars don't score over 140 points, they should be okay. But since the Huskies are last in defense in the Pac-10, could make for a very interesting day. Keith.
The Washington Huskies won the toss. They will defer possession to the second half, and so they will kick off to the Cougars, and Washington State will see if they can get off to a fast start, because if they do, it would bode well for them. If they don't, well, it might turn into a real fight before it's over.
Yeah, the last thing they want to give the Huskies, Keith, is any thought at all that they can win this game, although coming off 6 straight wins for UW, a lot of crazy things have happened in this great rivalry. Wouldn't be surprised we have some more tonight.
Michael Bronstein will kick it off for Washington. Tyron Breckenridge and Greg Prater are the deep people for Washington State. And we're ready to play Apple Cup game number 97. Ball drifts to the outside, taken by Prater. Coming back toward the middle of the field where his buddies are. It was a bad choice. The ball was knocked out of his hands, and the Huskies have recovered it. A solid hit right in the middle of the field by James Sims on the special teams, and he forced him to cough it up. And here you go, the worst possible scenario for the Washington State Cougars.
Yeah, we got a couple of flags down on the field, probably against Washington State for an illegal block. This is a great start for UW. Exactly what Bill Doba was afraid of, giving the Huskies life early in this ball game.
There are 2 fouls on the play occurring after the play was over. Dead ball, personal foul on the receiving team. Dead ball, personal foul on the kicking team. Those penalties canceled. First down, Washington.
And it'll be at the 11-yard line, first down for the Huskies.
James Sims, number 22, a former safety for the Huskies, now playing fullback and tailback with the big hit right there. Then the recovery by C.J. Wallace. And this man couldn't be any happier.
Well, it's a gift. The Huskies come up with Casey Paws at quarterback now. He started the last 3 games. James Sims and Kenny James are lined up in an eye behind him. And the ball is given to James, and James will find a little bit, get from the 11, maybe 2 yards to the 9 before Rickistro Bruce brings him down. Casey Paws in the quarterback shuffle at Washington. The big effort last week against California, 328 yards, but he was picked 3 times. He has 14 interceptions versus 4 touchdowns. Second down from the 9-yard line. Paws back to throw, lets it go, throws underneath, goes to Sims out of the backfield, and Sims will get cut down at about the 3-yard line by Pat Bennett and Scott Davis, defensive ends or linebackers playing almost in defensive end positions in that goal line defense. A look at the FedEx starting lineups now for the Washington Huskies, the backs and receivers. They line up. Well, that's Washington State's backs and receivers. We'll do them later.
Good start for James Sims. Just his 4th reception of the year. Good big hit on the kickoff. And the Huskies are looking at a 3rd and short.
3rd down and 1. The ball is on the 2-yard line. Thrown to the end zone, incomplete. There was great pressure put on the quarterback by Pat Bennett. And in fact, he put Casey Paws on his back and forced him to throw the ball out of the end zone and incomplete. And here comes the kicking team onto the field for Washington. So they're going to win the battle, perhaps, or the skirmish, but that's about all. The Cougars got to feel lucky if they can get out of here with Washington getting no more than a field goal. It's Evan Knutson for the try. The holder is the quarterback, Casey Paws, and the snapper is Jason Ben. They snap it back to the 10-yard line. Knutson hits it. He hooked it pretty good, but it's in between the uprights, and that's what matters. So Washington takes the early lead at 3-0 following the fumble and recovery at the 11-yard line, and they settle for 3.
A low snap comes back. Look at this job by Casey Paws to stop the ball, spin it around, get it on its point. Good hesitation by Knutson. He stayed with it, and 3 points is the result. But I think you're right, Keith, for Bill Doba and the Cougs to dodge that scoring opportunity that the Huskies had is big.
Somebody better tell Pert, if you're going to run in the middle of the field, son, you better put that thing away. Make sure you got a handle on it.
Yeah, he came back into the trouble, and that's where James Sims was to cause that turnover. But turnovers have been plagued both these teams the entire season.
You got Jerome Harrison, that swift-footed tailback, out there to return this one along with Breckenridge, and Prater's not out there.
No, he's probably not going to be out there either after fumbling the opening kickoff of the Apple Cup. Are you kidding me?
Braunstein will kick it off now for Washington. They'd love to have Harrison get his hands on it, I'm sure. But Braunstein may not want to kick it that way. He puts some air under it. It's drifting down and goes instead to Breckenridge. He stays in the middle of the field, gets some blocking help, and gets it out across the 30 to the 35 before Jimmy Newell brings him down. So the Cougars will get pretty good field position. They'll give him the 36 for the spot as young Alex Brink, 19 years old, comes out to start his 6th game. When Josh Swagger went down with a broken foot, he assumed the starting role. He has 5 touchdown passes. He has 5 interceptions, but he is 82 out of 170. And for a freshman at 19, that's not bad. He's quite mobile. The single back is Jerome Harrison. And he's come on as of late, and he's very quick. Like that quick. And he takes it out to the 45-yard line, picks up 9 yards before Dan Howell, who is starting the ball game defensively for Washington because of Scott White's departure. Now look at the FedEx starting lineups. The backs and receivers for Washington State. Michael Bumpus is another one on his way, a freshman to becoming a star. Benneman is back, the big tight end. Jason Hill needs one more catch to set a school record for touchdowns receiving. He has 11, 12 will do it. And Brink changing his play. He just waved it off, and he went to the second call and looks around and throws short. He has his first down as the ball is shot into Michael Bumpus' numbers. Michael is a 5'11", 174-pound freshman, but he is hiccup quick. The offensive front, we got a little trouble with the. Did we see the offensive front for the Cougars? The defensive unit for Washington. I wanted to tell you that the tackles for the Cougars, the big guys, are both at over 300 pounds and both seniors, so they are definite strength. That ball is thrown again to Bumpus, and Bumpus is up the sidelines and across to the 40-yard line before he is shoved out of bounds, and that'll be another first down for Washington State. There are the Cougars. The offensive lineman, Armstrong and Lightbody, Lightbody's at 330. Armstrong's just a little less than that, but they are both big, quick people, and Millhauser in the middle of that offensive front is also a strength. Carrying the ball, Harrison. Harrison gets a pretty good lick as he picks up 2 yards on the play from one of the Husky linebackers. The defensive front for the Washington Huskies now. This is another unit that has been pummeled and pummeled by injuries, and they lost another one this week. It means probably that Manasseh Opoy will have to play a couple of different positions. And the linebackers, there's only one starter remaining among the linebackers. That would be Benjamin. Brink keeps the ball, gets his pass away, has a man. That's Benjamin, the big tight end. And Troy's got another Cougar first down as they march on down the field.
Just a great start for young Alex Brink, completing all 3 of his passes, a couple to Bumpus, and now off the play action, he gets outside here and finds his tight end. But boy, you get Troy Benjamin going, you've got something special. Big tight end over the middle will allow the Cougars to get single coverage on these fast receivers like Hill and Bumpus.
I think Washington probably expected to come out and run and run and run. That's what the book would tell you, but they're not doing that. They're throwing the ball and they're catching the ball, and quick people are moving down the field, and you've got a penalty flag thrown across the field after Bumpus is brought down.
They make it Jason Hill for pass interference, offensive pass interference. He was trying to screen that. Yeah, he certainly was, Keith.
Run the old pick play. Yep, that's what it is. The secondary for the Washington Huskies is another unit that's been hurt some by injuries, but you've got corners there, and Johnson and Cunningham, that are good.
Well, they lead the Pac-10 in pass defense, giving up only 180 yards per game, but a lot of teams have a lot of success running this season against the Huskies. They are 7th in total defense, but first against the pass, and that's where the Cougars are attacking them.
That's a big penalty called on the offensive pass interference. It brings the ball all the way back to the Washington 42, and now it is first down and 25. So the color of the ink is a little different right here. They go to Harrison. He's picking his way around and gets tripped up as he tried to slide off a block and tripped over his own teammate's ankle. C.J. Wallace was involved. There's no tackle, actually. He just tripped himself and fell down over Bobby Bird's leg.
Yeah, C.J. Wallace coming up from his safety spot. We've also seen Dashawn Goldson crowding the line of scrimmage. That's dangerous time, though, when you allow Jason Hill and Bumpus and Chris Jordan single coverage on the outside.
But the Cougars have made another one of those mistakes that helps the opposition, and they've made a lot of them this year. They chase Brink, and Brink lost the football, and the Huskies have pounced on it again. The Cougars with their second turnover of the ball game.
Yeah,
when it looked like they were going to go right on down the road, they've just shot themselves in the foot and then gave it away.
Yeah, the pass interference against Jason Hill, the trip in the backfield on Jerome Harrison, and now Brink trying to step up into the pocket. Jordan White Frisbee there will get the fumble recovery. Brink had the ball hit off his thigh pad, and the Huskies have the ball at midfield. 2 turnovers in this first quarter for the Huskies, or for Bill Doba's Cougs.
So Washington goes to work from the 46-yard line for the first down. And it's Kenny James spinning in there. The Washington running game has not done much since the San Jose game, and the San Jose game was the one win they had this year. The backs and receivers, the FedEx starting lineups for the Washington Huskies. James and Sims, we thought we might see and may still see Sims at tailback some in this ball game. The offensive front, big guys, but there's not a whole bunch of experience there. Khalif Barnes, their best offensive lineman, injured, broken wrist, and gone for the season. Second down and 8. Casey Paws, he is the younger brother of Corey, who played at UCLA. They pitch it outside for Sims, and Sims going to the outside will pick up about 5 yards, but there is a penalty flag in his wake, thrown by, it appears, the umpire.
The umpire noticing one of the Huskies started early on that pitch play, trying to get to the outside for James Sims when the offensive lineman moved too soon.
Number 68 offense. Penalties 15 yards from the spot of the foul. The repeat second down.
That's a tough foul.
That's a very tough foul. A big penalty against the Huskies.
That is a rule that we talked to both coaches about, and both of them talk on and every coach you talk to goes on and on and on about the need to change that rule. You've got to stop letting people go down on the legs in the melee. The linebackers there for Washington State, Will Durding in the middle. He is special. 2-yard gain, 15-yard penalty, make it second down and 20. As Casey Paws throws to the sidelines, it's intercepted. He threw the ball right to the defending Cougar, Carl Pema, and he just had his 15th interception.
Yeah, this one really hurts Washington. They had a chance on their first turnover that they only got 3 points out of it. Now they turn the ball right back to the Cougs on another Casey Paws interception.
3-0 Washington, but now the Cougars have the gift to unwrap. On this side of the mountain, sunsets this time of year are crimson and gray. On the other side of the mountain, they're blue or purple and gold. But Dan detected a little purple in this one.
Yeah, and it's a little blue for Casey Paws. As he comes out on the rollout, here's Shackelford, number 21. He's going to be in the flat right here. Down the field, you're going to see coverage by Pema on Craig Chambers. A horrible decision by Paws. Neither Shackelford nor Chambers was open.
Harrison running the ball. He's a pretty good skater. He went right on through there and got it down to about the 34-yard line before Golden can make the tackle.
You know, skater or a slalom skier, he was just going through the gates there. Just so smooth. It's a pitch to the weak side. He sets up his blocks well. 2 good blocks there. Cody Boyd with 1. And then down the field for the first down for Washington State.
Spread them out with 3 wideouts. 1 way to this side. Run Jerome Harrison again. And on first down, he's going to be hit at about the line of scrimmage. Opoy made the tackle. Manasseh, a good football player. He's 6'4", 290-pound senior out of Sacramento.
He has a great ability to get penetration and make tackles on the opposing side of the line of scrimmage. He'll be asked to play some defensive tackle today and some defensive end because Mike Mapu is out.
Chris Brune has come into the ball game now for Washington State. They're throwing on it. Got a man open on the sidelines. Dropped it. Pretty well defended. Jason Hill trying to reach back over his shoulder to fetch that one, and he couldn't quite reel it in. It was close. Golson trying to hold on to him, but Jason Hill's a handful when he gets you out on the open field like that.
Now this is double coverage. This is a zone coverage there. Goldson comes over there and distracts Hill just enough. Ball thrown just a little bit too far to the outside, or that's a touchdown for Washington State. Shows you the quickness of Hill beating double coverage.
Would have been a record-setting touchdown catch for Hill. Shrink back, pumps it a little bit, lets it go again. He's got another man in that same neighborhood wide open. The catch is made by Chris Jordan, and that's going to be first down and goal. Washington State at the Huskies 6-yard line.
Well, attacking the same side of the field against Sam Cunningham. Here's Jordan, number 2. There's a blitz on the play. Deshaun Goldson comes over, and he gets burned by Chris Jordan. Huskies lucky that Jordan lost his footing there when C.J. Wallace tripped him up.
So it's first and goal, Cougars at the Husky 6. With the Huskies leading 3-0. Alan Thompson now has come into the ball game, and he's a very quick hitting tailback. They throw it again into the end zone. Touchdown, Benneman. Troy Benneman crossing, wide open.
Yeah, it's a bad series of plays for Dashawn Goldson, safety for the Huskies, as Benneman beats him on a short post route for his second touchdown catch of the year. Great move to the outside, just froze Goldson for the easy score.
The extra point from Lauren Langley, freshman out of Puyallup. What do they grow in Puyallup then?
Daffodils.
All right.
I'll learn.
It's good. That one looked easy. And so it's 7-3 Cougars with 7:40 to go in the first quarter.
Well, back in 1977, the great Warren Moon led the Huskies to an Apple Cup win and a Rose Bowl berth with this victory in 1977, and there was certainly a lot to celebrate.
My birthday was yesterday, and I turned 21, and my family's here, and this is just the greatest way to celebrate it I can think of.
We saw him. Where did we see him? We saw him in Phoenix, didn't we?
Yeah, looking good, too. Yep. Talk about looking good. Troy Benneman with another clutch catch.
Popped it up, pooch kickoff, and it's caught by the Huskies, and they're going to rumble this one back up the field. Number 20, Bobby Whitthorne, a wide receiver, makes the catch, and they're lucky that one didn't go all the way because he had a chance. It would have been, I think it's True, T-R-E-W, who did that. ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by the new Chevrolets, 10 new cars and trucks in 20 months, an American revolution. The Home Depot, you can do it, we can help. Budweiser, grab a cold, fresh Budweiser, it's game time. And AOL for broadband, proud sponsor of First and 10. So here again is a questionable decision by Washington State to pop the ball up at midfield, and now the Huskies get it. And on the first play, they have put it down for a 3-yard gain at the Washington State 43-yard line.
Now the Huskies have had unbelievable field position in this first quarter. This is their third possession, but they only have 3 points on the scoreboard.
And they've all been gifts so far. Because if that was supposed to be a pooch punt, it was right in no man's land as far as the Cougars were concerned. Kenny James is the single back for Washington. Casey Paws, the quarterback, throws, man's wide open. That's Anthony Russo, and he'll have a first down at the Washington State 35-yard line. And now an update from New York with John.
Well, Keith, it's time for the singular All-America Player of the Week. Here's a candidate, J.J. Arrington. 9 yards on this run. 10th straight game he goes over 100 yards. To vote, text the word player to 64444 on your cell phone or log on to ESPN.com. Keyword singular. Keith, back to you.
That might be the second best team in the country. Ball thrown hard, little flip back, swinging gig, Craig Chambers, and he's rolled out of bounds. Little hook and ladder, or whatever you want to call it. Everybody's got a different name for it. And
what a heck of a play by Chambers.
It worked for a first down.
He caught the ball, and he was surrounded by Cougs and threw a basketball pass over his head to Sims. Watch the hook, and now watch Sims will come out of the backfield. But there's about 3 Cougs around Chambers when he makes this catch. What a great heads-up toss back to Sims for the first down.
Well, Chambers is a fellow they found late in the season, Dan.
Yeah, he's really come on. Trick play number 1, Keith.
Yep. Bill Dober was talking about that. I think there was penalty coming on that play because either somebody in the Husky front moved or else one of the Cougars came across and made contact.
Looked like Braidwood, 13. Got that tattoo going too far.
This is what Dober said about worrying about what the Huskies might be bringing with them in their bag of tricks.
It remains first down.
Scares me. If I'm the coordinator at Washington, and I'm already fired, and there's this one formation I always wanted to try, or there's this one play I always wanted to try, what are they going to do if it doesn't work? Going to fire me? You know, I've already been fired.
Well,
talking about John Pettis, offensive coordinator for the Huskies.
Nothing on that one as James goes into the stack and Bruce nails him along with a couple of his buddies. For the Cougar defense, when it's been backed up against the wall, has done pretty well. But the offense has scored the touchdown all right. But other than that, it's been the defense's ball game to save their hide. They lead 7-3.
Both teams have really unbelievable bad luck, bad execution, and now in the red zone, another injury.
That's Kenny James, tailback. Both these teams have just been hurt. Washington State had a siege in the middle of the season where every week they seemed to lose 2 players.
And they always seem to lose 2 players at the same position.
Yep.
Defensive tackles, a couple of tight ends against Arizona. But they won't get any sympathy from anybody in purple, that's for sure.
Well, you go back to the old conversation that's been going around forever and a day. They get bigger, they get faster, they get stronger. They've got the artificial surfaces to play on. They've got shoes that grip it, all of these things, and they're going so fast that when you have the collision, something has to give.
You know, you're exactly right when you talk about that traction, Keith. And this is a very good artificial surface here, but the footing and the traction is exact.
And Kenny James is hurting, as you can certainly see. So we'll take a timeout and come right back, hoping he's going to be all right. Looks like bruised ribs for Kenny James. Boy, they can hurt. So he's out of there. Palaita is in there with James Sims now going to the tailback spot. Palaita goes to the fullback or blocking back position. And the Huskies 2nd down and 5. Give it to Sims. He's got daylight in the middle, and he's got a 1st down for the Huskies inside the Cougar 10. Call it the 7-yard line. 1st and goal.
And I talked to John Pettis, their offensive coordinator, about Sims. He said he's really earned his playing time at tailback. They got him a lot of work in practice, and it's really going to pay off for him. He's a little bit faster. He's a tough hitter. Former defensive back who's not afraid to mix it up in the middle.
So 1st and goal for the Huskies. They trail 7-3. And it's Sims inside the 5. No, they don't either. They put him on the chalk at the 6. Will Dirting gets the hit from the middle linebacking position. Another update now from our New York studio.
Keith, as you know, winner of this one is bowl eligible. Oregon State. Kellen Clemens, 4 yards to Tim Day. And that is good news, I know, for the man sitting next to you. Oregon up 7-3. Keith and Dan.
Yeah, here comes the first Go Ducks.
No, it's way too early.
Oh, okay.
Way too early.
Shelton Sampson checks into the backfield now for Washington at the 7-yard line. Casey Paws throws into the end zone. Touchdown to the tight end, Joe Toledo. And the Huskies take the lead.
You know, Casey Paws has been beat up pretty good by the fans and the media, but he showed me a lot on that play. Under real pressure, a defender coming free right at his face. He stood in the pocket. He looked for his tight end. Here's Toledo right here. There's the pressure from the outside. And that's how you beat the blitz.
So the Huskies unwrap their gift pretty nicely. Knutson for the point. It's good. At 4:56 to go in the first quarter, it's Washington 10 and Washington State 7 now. And both teams are trying to overcome mistakes.
This is the way you overcome a defensive strategy. They want to put pressure on the quarterback. You got to get to him if you're going to blitz. They leave Toledo wide open. His 2nd touchdown reception of the year. He's battled ribs and back injuries this year. What an asset he brings to this Husky offense.
Monday Night Football, you have the New England Patriots going to Kansas City. The weather forecast, Mark Amento, in case Kelly Hayes says, pretty good. So they brought their walking shoes, and they will be there along with the rest of the folks, Al and John and all, on Monday Night Football, 9 Eastern and 6 Pacific here on ABC Sports.
See those incredible numbers for Corey Dillon. This is what he's done this year for the Patriots, but 24 touchdowns in one season rushing. You know, the Huskies have only scored 16 touchdowns this entire season.
Well, he was pretty good when he wore the colors over in Seattle, you know. So he's great. Ooh, boy, he's a load. High, short kickoff. And the Cougars have to fall on it and cover it. That's what you want with that kind of a kick. Instead of kicking it up in the air long enough for somebody to make a clean catch and take off with it. Jerome Harrison was the one who came up and covered it for Washington State. But you know, you can fair catch a kickoff.
Absolutely, and that would be a wise thing to do. Not let it hit on this artificial surface where the ball, because of the way it's shaped, can bounce just about anywhere.
Right. Ball shaped like my mind. On first down, it's Harrison skating around, pops out. First down the sidelines, out near the 40-yard line. All great running backs, I say, are skaters. And maybe not all of them, but most of them are. And this kid is a good one.
Yeah, he keeps his legs going. It's almost like you have to separate the top of your body from the lower part of your body. You can take the hit with your shoulders and your back, but you got to keep those legs driving. And that's what Harrison does right there. He picks up a heck of a gain.
Keep your feet close to the ground.
Yeah, moving fast.
Great shopping. Now he lets it go. That's going to be almost picked off. Just a little too high for Dan Howell to come over and pick it off. He had a chance, but he couldn't reach it. Again, John from New York.
Keith, Utah got some good news earlier today with Michigan losing, trying to seal up their BCS hopes. 4th and goal here. Steve Savoy takes it in against BYU, and Utah gets on the board first and leads it at the end of one quarter, 7-0. Keith.
Urban Meyer is object of a lot of conversation out in this neck of the woods because of the coaching vacancy that existed at Washington. This time there's no ice for Jerome to skate on, and he's going to lose a yard. As the old Roger Miller song, you know, I haven't used it this year, so I can't go through a season without saying you can't roller skate in the buffalo herd.
If you do, you better clean your skates when you're done.
Our producer had to walk in the country yesterday. Had to call for help.
Well, his Gucci's soiled, didn't he?
Oh, in case you didn't see the beginning of the program, we were sitting on the porch of a 100-year-old farmhouse yesterday for the opening. That ball thrown into the middle. It is caught by Jason Hill. And Jason Hill just keeps on motoring. Matt Fontaine finally brought him down, but Jason Hill is a 198-pound sophomore out of San Francisco, and he is gifted.
Well, he's big. He's about 200 pounds, and he's strong. Watch the stiff arm right there as he gets away from a Husky and down the sideline for the first down. Cougs leading receiver, very, very dangerous.
First down on the Washington 48-yard line. Brink with time, going deep down the middle. Hill's down there. He's got the ball. He makes the catch inside the 10-yard line, beating Derek Johnson, and that ain't easy.
Well, at 6 foot tall and the ability to reach up above his head, good coverage by Johnson, but this is the difference right here. He's got him on his shoulder. He screens him away from the ball and does not wait for the ball to come down to him. He goes up and gets it right there.
Now let's see if they'll give him the ball again for his 12th record-setting touchdown. Nope, goes to Harrison. And Jerome is at the goal line, and they don't give him the touchdown. Just short.
Now let's see just how close Jerome Harrison got to a touchdown. Behind Calvin Armstrong. That's a heck of an effort, but I believe the knee was down before the ball hit.
Alex Brink throws his lanky body into the melee. Now there's a big fight for it. And I don't see any striped shirts' arms going up.
Yeah, they were really letting him go for the tug-of-war there. Still haven't decided. The umpire pointing the other way. Can't imagine what the discussion's about. Either it's a touchdown or it's not a touchdown. Not a touchdown. Why did it take so long to figure that out?
I don't know. He's a pretty lanky, he's only 19 years old. I don't know if that's a place to be him to be sticking his head with the ball. Let's see if he does it again. Yeah, he does. Yeah, second effort will do it. Now there's penalty flags flying all over the place.
Great second effort, though, for Alex Brink, his first career touchdown rush. Penalty apparently against the Huskies.
The Cougars have left the field. The kicking team has come onto the field, so it must be a touchdown, though nobody has signaled it.
There's just so much discussion among the officials these days. It's kind of ridiculous.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Offsides on the defense. That penalty's declined. Personal foul grabbing the face mask also on the defense. Penalty's accepted. It is a touchdown.
I'm not sure Galloway ever grabbed the face mask. He looked like he had a hold of Brink's shoulder pads, but what a great effort by Alex Brink. After he stopped by Galloway, kept his legs going and skated into the end zone. Through a buffalo herd.
Langley is in for the point. Got it. 2:07 to go in the first quarter. It's 14-10. Washington State back on top. .207 to go in the first quarter. We've had 24 points.
Yeah, a lot of action. A lot of free flow type of ball game with turnovers and strange kickoffs. And
well, we've had 3 lead changes in the first quarter, and we've still got better than 2 minutes to play. And the cannon smoke now is beginning to waft down into the stadium. Better save something for late, Todd.
Yeah, there it is right there. That's right up where old Todd was, wasn't it?
Yeah. I didn't know if he took his umbrella or not. I was hoping that we wouldn't have one of Mary's tricks, floating across the stadium. Graham Sedaris kicks it off for Washington State after the 15-yard penalty for grabbing the face mask. It's not a big deal to kick it beyond the field of play, and that's what he did. So the Huskies will take the ball out at their own 20-yard line, first down. Here are the BCS standings going into today's schedule. Brought to you by Allstate. You can see USC, Oklahoma, Auburn, California, Texas. Well, California's won big. Auburn was winning, and as far as I know, they did. Utah is out to the lead against BYU. The more I look at Utah and the more I look at that fellow Alex Smith, I think he is a terrific football player. I really do. Shelton Sampson is the tailback now for the Washington Huskies. Those are what happened to the teams in the BCS rankings. That pass is thrown off the back foot, but it's completed to James Sims coming out of the backfield.
The one thing the Huskies realize against Washington State loves to blitz. Rob Akey believes in pressure on the quarterback. He can do that because he always seems to have good corners. But you can see the Huskies are trying to get the ball to Sims, the halfback. The last series they got the ball to the tight end, working against linebackers.
Craig Chambers is that wide out down to the bottom of your picture now, number 3. He caught 8 balls against California last week. This is a run, and it goes to the tailback, Sims. Sims is cut down just beyond the 25-yard line on a quick tackle by Steve Dildine.
Ethan, talking about Chambers, he started to come on against Oregon when he had a big game. He had a 77-yard touchdown reception against Cal last week, which is the longest play for the Huskies this year.
3rd down and 4. Long 4. Balls, puts air under it, and it's too long. Intended for Craig Chambers. He's 6'3", he weighs over 200, has pretty good moves. He was running against Alec teams. He had about a 4-inch advantage on teams, but the ball was too long, and so Washington now will punt it away. Sean Douglas, the Husky punter. 57 punts, average just a little better than 42 yards per kick. Michael Bumpus, who's dynamite, waiting for it, Cougars got a little heat on it, but he got a lot of spin on it and got it out of there. Now here comes Muppus. Look out.
Jeez. Throw a net on him.
Oh, my goodness. After watching Ohio State's Ginn today and stuff he pulled, and watching Reggie Bush all season, and so many others who can do things like that, boy, they're all doing it. At the conclusion of today's game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game. Each team, Chevrolet making a $1,000 contribution to the University General Scholarship Fund in behalf of that player. Ball is on the 33-yard line now. Washington State leading 14-10 with a half a minute to go in the first quarter. Brink rolls it out, got two Huskies after him, gets the ball away, and it is incomplete. Washington is yelling for offensive pass interference because Cody Boyd, the intended receiver, were right over the back of Evan Benjamin.
Yeah, that's the Huskies got a real good argument. A good case here for pass interference on Cody Boyd, number 80. This is a poor decision by Brink to throw this ball because Benjamin's got great coverage. That is pass interference to the nth degree. Almost took off Benjamin's head.
Boyd is 6'8". I think that's what it says. And this is Jerome Harrison carrying the ball, and he'll have a 2-yard pickup on that. So it's going to be third down now and long for Washington State.
Yeah, you got to give Boyd a lot of credit for preventing that interception. But Brink, who normally throws well on the run, had a couple of Huskies in his face before he made that bad decision.
And we've used up the first quarter of play. After one, it's Cougars 14, Huskies 10, and we're playing in Pullman. We've got a 14-10 ball game. Washington State leading the Huskies as we go to the second quarter. And Dr. Mark Emmert, the newly arrived president of the University of Washington, joining us for a little while. And we're going to talk about 2 or 3 things as we watch some of the ball game here in the second quarter. Coming home, though, for you, isn't it?
It sure is. Wonderful to be back in the state of Washington.
I bet it is. It's you've had a long, successful trip, but home is home.
Home is home, and being back part of the University of Washington, just a wonderful experience.
Good. Cougars with the ball now from the 36-yard line. It'll be third down and 7 for them as Brink rolls, looking, goes shopping down the sidelines. That ball is almost picked off by the Huskies, threw it into a crowd, and he's very lucky to get it back. And so Washington State now, Bossler will come into the ball game, and he'll have to kick it away. It's been a game of opportunity and missed opportunities, or gift giving, if you will, in the first quarter. And it's been that kind of a season for both of them, and in particular the Huskies, because and Washington State a year ago led the country, or was around the lead in the country in takeaways, and this year they're way down. Snap's good, kick is good. He's got a big, strong leg. It doesn't turn over for him, though. It's taken at the 25-yard line, and the return will come out to about the 35-yard line. Well, coming back from LSU, and we're now in this season where the BCS has become an overwhelming subject. I'm not even going to ask you anything about who's going to be your new coach or what your timetable is, because I know I'm not going to get an answer.
Well, that's true.
I'm going to go on to something we can talk about. Your school, LSU, was involved in the BCS last year. What are your feelings about this bowl championship series?
Well, I think while it's certainly not a perfect system, it's the one we have right now. It's generated some controversy, but it certainly has also worked well on a number of occasions. It was great fun for us last year. We got to keep working on some wrinkles on it, and there's no doubt that we in higher education got to exercise a little bit more leadership on developing a system people have more confidence in.
The penalty is called for somebody starting too soon against the Huskies. And Gilby, hands on his knees. He's got a terrible hip. He's going to have surgery and have that thing fixed before he can play any meaningful golf, and he'll do that as soon as this season is over. And we'll get back to this BCS thing in a moment. For the Huskies, it's first down and 15 after the 5-yard mark off. And they try to run. There's not much daylight for James Sims on that one. He'll pick up a yard or so. I have argued from day one about this thing. I've worn my tongue out. Roy Kramer, and even before it, all these things got into the daylight. Let's take a semifinal final. Let's play all the bowl games, leave them alone, let them do their thing, and then take the top 4 teams and have a semifinal final. I still think that's probably the best solution.
Well, it may well be where we wind up eventually. Right now, we all want to, I think I speak for everyone in the Pac-10, and I know, of course, my SEC colleagues pretty well on this. Also, we would like very much to maintain the integrity of the current bowl system as well as we can. And if there's a way to add another game into that semifinal final, as you call it, I think that could be a very useful thing to do. I don't necessarily disagree with you.
Was this a power grab by 6 conferences with the commissioners and the bowl promoters getting control of postseason college football?
No, I don't think it was. I think it was a legitimate effort to try and add some kind of real finality to the season and identify a true national champion in as good a way as we could under the circumstances. As I said earlier, is it perfect? Certainly not. Is it a good place to be right now? It's okay for now, and we have a chance to reconsider it moving forward.
Well, it might be embarrassing coming up if you do have Utah in a situation where they're not part of the BCS and they turn out to be, obviously a team that's very deserving of playing.
Pause on 2nd and long. Throws almost picked off in the middle by Pat Bennett, but he dropped it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the concerns, of course, is do you shut down a team that's as good as Utah obviously is so far, and we'll have to wait and see what the computers show and what the BCS rankings come up with. I suspect Utah's going to be in it.
I invited you to come here because I'm dead certain one of these days you're going to be in a position where you're going to have a lot to say about it, because I know the University of Washington's not going to stay down.
No, we're certainly not.
3rd down and long for Paws. Wants to go deep in the middle, and he does successfully. 1st down at the midfield stripe. And now they're saying, did he have it? The Cougars say no. And if he didn't catch it, one of the Cougars may have it. Now let's see what the man in the funny-looking shirt says.
First of all, they're going to have a discussion. They always seem to have a discussion before they make a decision. But let me ask you, Doc, what is your time frame for naming a coach? How soon do you have to get it done because of the recruiting season?
Well, first and foremost, we got to hire the right coach, not necessarily a coach on a timetable. It's much more important we get the right person. Whether that happens in November, December, or January, we have to hire somebody that's going to be with us for the long run, not somebody who's just going to be here for the short run.
Well, we're glad to have you home.
Me too.
Know your history and know how you work, and we're expecting some big things to come from over there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dr. Mark Emmert, president of the University of Washington. The punt, high beauty. Taken back at the 21, and the receiver Bumpus is taken back around the 17, 18-yard line.
Boy, and Jason Ben just got a free shot on Bumpus. Bumpus was down on one knee, and number 87 just came and cleaned his clock.
And we've got a timeout. (14-10) ball game. 13:49 to go in the first half of play. And Bumpus is all right after that lick he took. And surprisingly, he got the mark up across the 20, too, at the 21-yard line. So the Cougars on the ball. And Bumpus is in the lineup. Coming across and lining up on the near side is Chris Jordan. He's the real wide man, but Jerome Harrison's coming around the corner and got there. Got it up across the 25. And C.J. Wallace just almost got to it, but not quite. The gain is 4 yards, 2nd down and 6. Alex Brink having a pretty good night once he got started. Helmet comes flying out of there as one of the Cougars lost it. Cody Boyd trying to block somebody. and there's very little on that play. Now time for the Aflac trivia question. What is the Division 1A team record for turnovers in a season?
Both these teams have turned the ball over a lot this year. In fact, a lot today. Cougs have 2 turnovers. The Huskies 1. But are they close to that all-time record?
Cody Boyd has left the game. He was one of the tight ends that was hurt. In fact, both tight ends were hurt in that game down at Arizona. Jason Hill comes back in. Ball thrown to Michael Bumpus. And Michael will have a first down. His reach carried him 1 yard beyond the change for the Cougars out to the 33-yard line. Now another update from our studio in New York. John?
Well, Keith, here in the Taco Bell update, BYU would come back to tie the score against Utah, but Marty Johnson takes it from Alex Smith and goes in 5 yards on the run as Utah again jumps into the lead. You can tell they're fired up about sewing up a BCS berth if possible. Keith.
Thank you, sir. 14-7, huh? They've been just burying people. The umpire just threw a flag into the melee, and that almost always means holding.
You know, Keith, there's a young former Ute quarterback sitting in Seattle right now watching the Utes battle BYU. A young man by the name of Mike Fouts, who played for the Utes a couple years back, and I know he's jumping off that couch right now.
Related?
My nephew, thank you.
All right. Well, Todd Harris is jumping up and down when it was 7-7.
Offense number 70. Penalties 10-yard spot of the foul. Repeat, first down.
So the Cougars back up. The old mistakes keep rolling along, don't they?
Well, they do, and they average about 6 penalties a game. And Brink has tossed a couple of very questionable throws lately that have not been picked off, but have come close to being picked off.
Brendan Harvey is in as a receiver now. He's looking the other way, though, and goes hard up to the 35-yard line to Chris Jordan. And Chris, who is 6'1", 204, and kind of thick in chest area, and it's a good thing because that was a rocket.
Yeah, the great thing that Brink did is he got back and he got rid of this ball, throwing it into a zone coverage here to Jordan. Benjamin clears it out, and there's that hard pass right to the body of Jordan.
2nd down and 7. There's Harrison. Got a yard. Harrison's not all that big enough. He's 5'9" and weighs 192 according to the paper. I don't know if he's that big or not, but he's stocky.
He's a threat to go all the way anytime he touches the ball, and you can say the same thing about Bumpus, the same thing about Jason Hill. Real playmakers for the Cougs.
Now they go trips to the bottom of the picture, got one up at the top, so they've spread the Husky defense pretty well with a single back set. Brink gets it away, got air under it, and incomplete. The defender had position, Sam Cunningham, and they've been picking on Sam tonight. Chris Jordan was the intended receiver.
This is the second time this evening that Sam Cunningham has gotten his hands on a ball. This ball should have been intercepted. Good recovery by Cunningham. Ball hit him in both hands as Jordan turns around and plays pass defense.
Kyle Bossler is in to do the punting. One of the better ones in the conference. Shackelford is back waiting for it. Cleans it out of there, and he got all of this one. He runs him all the way back to the 7-yard line. And he gets coattailed back at the 10, the 11. Somebody grabbed a piece of his shirt and hung on. So it'll be first down for the Huskies at their own 11 when we come back.
Now time for another Apple Cup memory. Back in 1991, the Huskies dominated the Cougs, throwing the ball and running. And defensively, they got after the great quarterback Drew Bledsoe of the Cougs. En route to this Apple Cup win, a Rose Bowl victory that followed made the Dogs co-national champs.
And here come the Dogs. First down at their own 11. They trail by 4, 14-10. Ball is handed away to Sims. Sims playing most of the time at tailback and has given them a little more punch perhaps at that position. That's what they wanted. Gain on the play, 2 yards.
Just to clarify things, number 24, Sonny Shackelford, returning punts for the Huskies. He normally wears number 21, but Derek Johnson also wears 21. He's also on the punt return team. Cannot have 2 players with the same number.
Shackelford is wearing that 21 now as a wide receiver in the offensive team. And that's Sims, and he's being ridden out of the play by Will Dirting. He didn't want to go down, so Will, he just bulldogged him.
Yep, time for our Pacific Live game summary. Turnovers and scores so far. Opening kickoff of the day. Greg Prater drops that ball. Then Evan Knutson, 19-yard field goal, put the Dogs on top. Casey Paws with an interception to Carl Pema right there. That was converted on this touchdown reception by Troy Benneman. Score right now, 14-10 Cougs.
Pressure. Gets it away, and it is incomplete. Threw it pretty hard to Sims, and James couldn't handle it. And Casey was about to get mauled by the Cougars, so he got rid of it.
Yeah, sometimes when that pressure is all around and you know that the sky's falling on you, you do speed up that pass a little bit, and Sims had no chance to make that catch.
Sean Douglas standing back near his goal line. Should hit it around between the 3 and the 4-yard line. Bumpus is waiting. Bounce back to him, picks it up, now tries to kick it and does, got something out of it. That's a heck of an effort. It's out of bounds. Now it depends on where it crossed into the chalk. The walk is continuing and continuing, and now stopping at the 48-yard line of Washington. So that's where it'll be put out. Jason Ben was the snapper on that play.
First ever G6.
Every Sunday, these bold warriors meet in a quest for glory. Proud gladiators whose game is equal parts preparation and passion. When men become myths and moments become legend. The game is tailgating. The cola is Pepsi. It's the cola.
And I don't even have that insurance.
What insurance, Santa?
The one that pays you cash if you're hurt and can't work.
Huh?
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Can you just send out the toys?
How could a day that begins like this
It's 5 a.m. I really should go.
end like this?
I'm giving notice. Now step aside before I push you to the ground.
An all-new Boston Legal this Sunday, 10/9 Central, only on ABC.
14-10 Washington State lead. Game being played in Pullman on the campus of Washington State University. Here's that last play, the punt.
And it's not roughing the punter, although Douglas gets up and he's looking around for a flag. But once the ball on the snap hits the ground, or once the punter leaves the pocket and is kicking on the run, there can be no roughing the punter.
Your fair game. Alan Thompson is the single back now for Washington State. Brink back, blitz coming. They got him. C.J. Wallace, first man in his vision. Then Ty Eriks came to help. They kept talking about Brink being agile, but I've seen him under pressure twice now, to 3 times tonight. Once he fumbled. He has shown that agility tonight because the Huskies have pinned him pretty well.
Ty Eriks with his first sack. Got to go and give C.J. Wallace a high five.
Alan Thompson with a good surge gets it down inside the Husky 45-yard line to the 44. Now your update from New York with John.
Keith, Utah wishes, but BYU won't go away, matching them punch for punch. Curtis Brown 6 yards on the run, ties the game at 14 apiece. Remember, Utah knows that Michigan behind them has lost, so their chances of moving up in the BCS still a chance, but they got to get past the Cougs. Keith.
Thank you, sir. 3rd down, a long 6. Brink throws it. Put it right in the seam, and it's a big play with Bumpus. Bumpus is 5'11", 174 pounds, and he'll scare you to death. 1st down, Cougars, Washington 19.
Well, this is what he brings to the team, electricity. Watch, here he is working in the slot, and that's unusual for a youngster, just a true freshman. Great move, faking the outside route. Now, after he gets the ball in his hands, it's fun time. 15 more yards after the catch for Bumpus.
Brink gives it to Thompson. Half a step from going home with that one. Norvell Holmes gave him a big block.
And Tim Galloway with a touchdown-saving tackle. Galloway taking over for Joe Lobendon. Galloway's a senior. There he is, right in the middle.
Lobendon broke a hand, didn't he?
Broke his arm, last week.
One after another. Here's another run. That's a tackle behind the line of scrimmage by Galloway again. Very much involved now. Tim Galloway is a senior from Auburn, so he's been around. Earlier we asked you the Aflac trivia question. What's the NCAA Division 1A team record for turnovers in a season? And the answer is 61. 61
by 2 teams.
The coach must have jumped. 1971 North Texas, 28 fumbles, 33 interceptions. 1976 Tulsa, 37 fumbles and 24 interceptions. Phew, I'd have changed professions.
I don't know if the coach jumped or was pushed.
Oh, it's incomplete. Had it in his hands. Jason Hill at the goal line. In between people. And Jason took a wallop from C.J. Wallace, and he's still down.
Yeah, it looked like a couple of Cougs had a shot at this one, Keith. Looked like Bumpus was the first Coug that this ball could have been caught by. They're both going to come from this side of the field. A little pump fake there. Over Bumpus's head. It was for Jason Hill, and a big hit by C.J. Wallace, and Hill is still down. Wow, what a hit.
Well, you couldn't really discern as much of the impact as we thought you might, because they were both going full speed and just hammered each other. And you can see that Jason's looking around, counting my fingers.
Yeah, he had his papers shuffled on that one. That obviously was a lot louder inside his helmet than what we could hear, but great to see him walking off the field. Question is, can he return? Obviously, he's got some type of head injury, concussion.
Well, when you're knocked out, in almost every case, there's some degree of concussion, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely.
So,
and you just see the look on his face, the wide eyes. Just great to see him up and walking. Legal shot. No question about that.
Graham Sedaris is in for a field goal try of 34 yards. And there's plenty of leg, and it looks good, and it is not good. It didn't hook for him. He had it up where it could, but it didn't. And so the Cougars now are turned away when it looked like they might be able to get something out of it, as they had their best receiver on the goal line with the ball on his hands, and he got busted upside the noggin and is over on the sidelines trying to find himself. ABC Sports presentation of college football is brought to you by Pontiac and the first ever G6, the next official performance machine of the NCAA. Miller, there's good enough and there's better than it has to be. Miller, good call. Aflac, ask about it at work. And here comes Washington now from the 20-yard line as Casey Paws puts it in the air, and it is over the head of everybody into the sidelines. And again, Paws had some pressure. The pass intended for Sonny Shackelford. And by AOL, the rest of the billboards for broadband, proud sponsor of 1st and 10. Ball is just short of the 20. Keith Gilbertson there. Nice man. Fun to be around. Fun to be with.
Good coach.
2nd down and 10. Well, there's some daylight on that one for James Sims. His maybe best of the night as far as getting help from his teammates. There'll be 3rd down and 2 coming up. I would think that Bill Doba and Keith Gilbertson, of all the coaches, we know a lot of them, and they're all, most of the ones, well, not all of them, but most of them are really, really pleasant people and good people to be about. But these two guys have got a special quality about them, for just being in a room with them and having a conversation. 3rd down and 2. Run for it. They're not going to get it. They bury him. For a quick pop play, that one was slow getting started.
That's been a problem for Washington all year, converting on 3rd down. They're 9th in the conference, and it's a good example why.
Well, a bump in the road for that particular one, though, is number 51, named Dirting. You'll watch him.
Yeah, he just skates along that defensive line, too, doesn't he?
Yeah, he sure does. All right, Jason Ben's going to try that snap again to Sean Douglas. They're coming, the little flip ahead, and it is caught. And it's going to be a 1st down for Washington, and now there's a penalty flag. And I'm trying to figure out who it was that caught it. Gunheim, Grayson Gunheim, caught it and ran for the 1st down.
Yeah, he's one of the personal protectors. A heck of a play by Douglas under real pressure. Now the question is, did the Huskies have an illegal man downfield when that ball was thrown?
You want to complicate things.
Be roughing the pat. I'm not sure what that signal was.
The foul was after the play, dead ball, personal foul, offense number 51. The foul occurred after the play. The yardage for 1st down was gained. Therefore, it's 1st and 10 for Washington after the penalty.
Now let's check out where Gunheim comes from. Here he is right here in this stack. The pressure comes, and then Gunheim is going to step behind the pressure, and Douglas is going to throw him, well, not the most beautiful pass in the world, but pretty darn effective. A little push pass there, and Gunheim shows pretty good running ability for a defensive end. Husky ball after the penalty.
Larich, number 51, is called for the penalty. And so the Huskies are backed up to the 15-yard line. They completed the pass but lost yards. If that makes any sense to you. But that's what happened. And number 26 for Washington State on defense just hurt himself. Jeremy Bohannon is in pain. He's going to have to leave the ball game because he came down awkwardly on his left leg or ankle, and he is walking off the field. And he is a horse in that defensive secondary. 15-yard line now.
Yeah, he came into the game with a bad ankle, Keith, and he's so important to the secondary. Plays with a lot of emotion, especially in this one.
Hussein Abdullah is into the ball game in his place, and the pass is completed short to the tight end Robert Lewis, And that doesn't get much for them. 19-yard line. Now an update from John in New York.
Keith, this update brought to you by the U.S. Marines. Oregon State Civil War continues. Kellen Clements to Demetrius Williams. 12 yards for the touchdown as he sneaks across. And right now, 20-14 is the lead in favor of the Beavers. Sorry, Dan.
Oh, no go Ducks on that one. 19-yard line.
Not yet.
Third down now, and long 6 with Shelton Sampson to single back. Pressure coming. He loses the ball in the end zone. Cougars have it. Touchdown. Will Dirting.
Scott Davis with the play. Casey Paws has got to know when to fold him and know when to throw it. This one, he thought he could get rid of it before Davis got to him. Rob Akey goes crazy for Will Dirting on the sideline as Dirting gets his first touchdown. Here comes Davis, 42, right up the middle. Nobody to pick him up. Now Paws has got to pull that ball back to his body. There's Dirting. Touchdown Cougs.
Point by Langley. Good. 4:07 to go first half. And Washington State now 21-10 over the Huskies. A pleasant evening, actually. It's cool, but there's no wind. And Cougar faithful are certainly not feeling any cold. Cougars will kick it off after that bang-bang touchdown. Scott Davis knocking it loose. Dirting recovering in the end zone. Not his first touchdown of his career, mind you. He had a 98-yard return for one. Washington has Rankin and Shackelford deep, waiting for it. And they kick it away to the 2-yard line. That's Rankin. He's a tailback. Whoa, got a little daylight. Comes across the 30 out near the 32.
Key time for our Pontiac High Performance Drive Summary. And you can see the last 4 drives for the Huskies. It gives you a pretty good indication why they are 1-9 and now trailing by 11 points. 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and then 7. And a crazy play with the fumble for the touchdown for Washington State.
Bohannon is not out there, so whatever that injury was to him has prevented him from coming out to join his defensive teammates right now. James Sims carried on that last play and gained a yard. Here's Todd.
Well, Keith, you're right. It's exactly the same ankle that Jeremy Bohannon has been struggling with all year. He is going to sit out until the half. And a quick update on Jason Hill. They are reevaluating him at halftime. It's a possible concussion, so they're not going to take any chances. He will not play until the second half, and that's just a big maybe. Keith.
All right, sir. Thank you. Jason Hill's only a sophomore. Take care of him. He's going to be a great one down the road. Already is. That's Sims cutting into the traffic, and he'll get it up across to maybe the 38-yard line. So they'll be looking at 3rd down and 4. Capital One halftime show. John Craig and Aaron. They've been in that studio so long today, they've probably taken root. But they'll talk about some of the big games and the impact of those games on the BCS. Third down and 4. Cougars coming. Gets it away. Incomplete. Intended for Toledo. And he threw it so hard, Joe couldn't handle it.
And not only did he throw it very hard, he threw it behind Toledo. Toledo catches this ball out in front. He will pick up the first down because he's so big and strong. There's the pressure from Dildine, 49. He gets picked up. Dirting gets picked up. The ball thrown behind Toledo. Tough catch.
And it's 4th down, they'll punt. Same alignment they had before. But they've had their trick out of this formation. Maybe they've got another one. Nope. Almost got it blocked. Penalty flag. Somebody ran into the punter, I think. Now Douglas is skipping along. He's happy because he finally got a call. And Dada hit him, yeah.
Wally Dada came in late. They're trying to put pressure on Douglas and on this formation. And another Coug is down. This is Michael Bumpus, and what a loss this would be. Lose Jason Hill, and now Bumpus is down.
Roughing the kicker on the defense, number 32. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
What the Cougs think they can do is just load up and go after those 4 guys, because the Huskies have had 5 punts blocked this year. But Dada just rolled in to Douglas.
Bumpus is trotting off.
This looked like Dada lost his balance. He's got to try to avoid that punter, though.
Whether it's ankle or knee.
And it's one of those wheels. That's the trouble.
Yep. It's a cold night. That doesn't help either. Shelton Sampson comes in now for Washington as the tailback. Bumpus, one of the gunners on that punt team. Here, the ball is thrown for Sims. Thrown a little bit behind him, and he couldn't reach back for it. And it falls incomplete on first down. The ball is at the 48-yard line after that 15-yard penalty for roughing the punter. It was not running into, but it was roughing.
Tough catch here for James Sims, but you would think that he should make that catch.
Cold night, ball slick and hard, Dan.
Yeah, it is. He's only got a couple of catches coming in today's game.
Lobs it out there. The ball is caught by Sims, but unfortunately, just about the time James got possession of the ball, Pat Bennett hit him.
Yeah, the Cougs are doing a good job of pressuring Casey Paws. They've always done a great job over the years. Akey's always had great defensive ends, and M. Christo Bruce, the last 2 plays, has been able to get into the face of Casey Paws. That time he made him rush the throw.
Christo Bruce is very aggressive. In fact, that's a trademark, I think, of Akey's defense, isn't it?
Yep.
Aggressiveness.
Yep.
Oh, that's a good catch. That is a very good catch by Craig Chambers. Coming across the middle, he broke free just in time for Paws' pass, and he makes the catch first down at the Washington State 29-yard line.
Yeah, and the Huskies convert on third down for the first time this afternoon. Great catch, as you said, Keith, as he goes down over the middle in traffic for his second catch of the night. And the Huskies got something going now.
Bohannon has come back. Number 26 is back out there. Playing center field. And that ball is thrown too deep for Big Joe Toledo, over his head, and incomplete.
Yeah, I'm not sure who has the advantage on that play. Toledo running against Scott Davis. A linebacker. I think Scott Davis may have more speed than Big Joe.
Joe comes in at 285.
Comes in at 2 a lot. Big tight end.
Almost ate himself out of the tight end position and over to tackle. Oh, Drew.
Got a touchdown catch tonight, doesn't he?
Yep. Second down and 10. Cougars back off the line of scrimmage a little bit. Pass is thrown short again to the tight end. That's what he does. Will Durding now, who is one of the tough nut linebackers in the country, and he was right there and hammered Toledo and bounced off. Sure, Toledo went down, but 3 yards up the field.
Well, that's the difference. From the previous time he tried to hit him over the middle, threw the ball behind him, got it on his body that time, and used that 50-pound advantage to pick up the first down. Watch where this ball is thrown to Big Joe. Lined up right there, a little delay route. That's a good 3-4 yards.
And the ball rests now at the Washington State 18-yard line. That game, Wisconsin-Iowa, those folks, I guess they're just about to wrap that one, aren't they? So that story is among the many you'll see at the Capital One halftime with the guys at our studio in New York. Auburn, Alabama, that's a big one. Utah is ongoing. California has won. Michigan has lost.
Don't forget about the Civil War down in Oregon, where the winner goes to a bowl game and the loser, well, they go back to class.
Iowa won big, in case you haven't heard, comfortably, 30-7. Hawkeyes came on pretty strong after Arizona State hammered them early in the season. Jump ball in the corner of the end zone, and the field judge on this side, I thought for a second, was going to reach for his pocket because Carl Pema was right in Craig Chambers' shirt going into the end zone, but no flag.
Yeah, and they're grabbing at each other, too. The field judge is Michael Mothershed, and I think he determined that this ball was going to be uncatchable. It landed so far down the field. There's the hand fighting there, Pema and Chambers. A little bump there, but the ball was nowhere near the receiver. You've got to give your receiver a chance to make this catch. Use that 6'3" height.
Kenny James is back in the ball game, but he's offset. And they flip it back. Here's Sims throwing, and it is incomplete. Shackelford was the man that threw it, Sonny Shackelford.
Yeah, if you're scoring at home, Keith, that's trick play number 3 for the Huskies here in the first half.
That was a pretty good push down in that end zone, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I thought that Pema should have got called for pass interference on that one because
he really gave him a shove.
He pushed Chambers off the playing field.
Yep.
Here's Shackelford here on the halfback pass, if you will. Little option flip back to him. And now he throws the ball way to the inside, and you don't even see Chambers in the picture. Pema thinking he might have got a penalty called on him. Or a finger in the eye.
Something wrong. Paws gets it away. It's a ricochet interception. Pat Bennett makes the interception after the ball ricocheted off somebody's noggin. It was off a Husky. The right guard hit him in the head, bounced up in the air, and was intercepted by Bennett.
This is unbelievable. Tusi Saao is the right guard. He's only 6'2", and Paws drilled him in the back of the head. There he is, number 61 right there. Watch this ball. Right in the back of the head. Now that's a penalty. Number 1. Obviously not going to be accepted. Cougs have the ball, but how can you hit your lineman in the back of the head?
He got in the way.
Obviously. Oh, you.
Whistle, stop him.
That's the way it's been, though, for Gilby. Unbelievable turnover when the Huskies are in the red area looking to put the ball in the end zone.
Why did they stop him? Somebody move? Whatever. The marker's got it 2nd down and 12 now. Oh, they're just taking a knee. I see.
Yep.
Going to the clubhouse. Have a cup of tea. (21-10) halftime lead for Washington State, and it's been a maze of mistakes on both sides. Here's Todd now.
All right, well, he's pretty excited. You knew Gilby wasn't going to go away quietly.
No, I knew that, and then we're killing ourselves on special teams with the fake punt. I knew they were going to do some fake punts and stuff, but it's a heck of a ball game. It's going to be a good ball game for us.
How you like them apples?
Oh, I hope they're ripe. That's all.
Keith.
21-10, the Cougars lead the Huskies at halftime. Now let's go spend some time with John, Greg, and Aaron in New York City.
Keith, thanks a lot. We've sat here all day on this rivalry Saturday, and a lot of games that people around the nation think don't mean a whole heck of a lot, but that show you something, Washington and Washington State.
Well, like Coach just said there, some people had some ripe apples and some had some rotten apples today, and it's been one of those days.
Washington only converting 1 of 8 on third downs. It took them about 2 minutes in the second quarter to get that done, so maybe some little stinky poo on offense on the Huskies.
A game that did mean something to at least one of the teams, Cal. Although Stanford Cal, it's going to mean something. Forget about what the records say. You know, that's a cliche, but we say it anyway. Marshawn Lynch, 55 yards on this touchdown run as Cal won easily.
Rushing was the name of the day for the Cal Bears, winning the big axe in the big game. 300 yards rushing for this Bear team. They were getting it done all over the place.
J.J. Arrington, 27 carries, 169 yards and a touchdown. Over 100 yards for the 10th consecutive time. 41-6 is the final there. BYU against Utah. Utah in the number 6 spot right now in the BCS, trying to move up. Bo Nagahi on this fake punt. At their own 13-yard line, it sets up Alex Smith calling his own number.
Alex Smith, he's taking advantage of an opportunity that the fake punt allowed them, goes into the score, but this is a shootout. And this is not what Utah needs in terms of impressing the voters, because Utah going in this game, most people around the country assume that BYU was not a challenge for a real solid Utah team. Utah needs to beat this team convincingly.
Yeah, but I think Michigan's loss today is going to help Utah in the at-large berth. The next 3 teams behind them aren't faring so well. They're about 0.3 of a percentage point behind them in the BCS poll. So I think Utah, although they do need to impress them, I think got a little help from Michigan today.
Yeah, Michigan's gone out of there. But this is one that says you don't want to leave any doubt or room for people to maybe go in there and start wondering about Utah. That's the last thing they need.
Plus, you never know what those wacky computers are going to do either. That drives me nuts. We'll continue with more. The Capital One Halftime Show after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Well, these gentlemen get a chance to shine every single Saturday, but it's extra special when it is for all the apples, if you will. John Saunders, Craig James, and Aaron Taylor here. As we looked out, Oklahoma was the number 2 team in the BCS, but there was barking from behind from Auburn saying they deserve to be there as well. Bob Stoops says we've got to put up a good performance against Baylor, so guess what? Give it to Adrian Peterson and get out of the way.
Speaking of teams that need to win impressively, how about this big long run by the young freshman putting it done on the ground?
Long, short, Peterson did it both. This one from a yard out to make it a 21-0 game. Then Adrian Peterson, who did not rush for 100 yards last week for the first time this year, does get it this week.
You know what's good news for Sooner fans is the fact that he came back and that shoulder's not bothering him as much. Those legs are healthy and fresh, and that was good news for them.
And Peterson again, this one to make it a 28-0 game. 32 carries, 240 yards, 3 touchdowns. Back in the Heisman hunt?
Yeah, why not?
Along with his quarterback, Jason White. And to get you off of your soapbox earlier in the day. Auburn facing Alabama. Joe Willie Namath really has turned things around, fired up for his team there. Jason Campbell here to Devin Aromashadu.
God bless you.
And he hauls it down, almost makes it into the end zone. It sets up the Cadillac. Get out of the way, 5 yards. Auburn grabs the lead for good. Jason Campbell with a good day, 32 yards to Courtney Taylor.
You know what? Jason Campbell had a solid performance in this ball game, keeping his team in there. Since the beginning of the 03 season, when they started out 0-2, Auburn now has run their record to 19-3 since that point in time, and they've been killing their opponents.
Their defense did well today also, Craig. Alabama was coming this game leading the SEC in rushing. They held them to under 60 yards. So I think we're seeing an Auburn team now, like we've said all year, that's playing very balanced, both well offensively and defensively.
We talked about it earlier in the day as you guys thought that really Auburn and Oklahoma were both better teams than USC, or thought they should be past them. Out of the 2 teams that did play today, because USC has the week off, which one was more impressive?
Well, what people need to realize when you start analyzing these games and breaking them down is the intensity of the Iron Bowl. You have to remember that Alabama, even though they've had a different quarterback, and Pennington played well today, Darby was out with the shoulder banged up, so you can't really say, hey, they didn't whip them bad. They won a very solid game. Oklahoma, on the other hand, another solid performance for them. So to answer your question, I'm being political here.
I don't think you did answer
Oklahoma. I go Oklahoma.
I'll be a little bit more direct, and I'll go Auburn, actually. I think a win over Alabama in the Iron Bowl is a much more win. I was worried about Auburn today. Alabama coming in this ball game playing very good defense, rushing the ball very well. Oklahoma did beat Baylor 35-0, but it was 7-0 going into halftime, so it took them a little bit while to get it going.
What was the final score?
30-something to nothing.
I think all the Auburn fans are excited that he was actually worried for them.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that made their day.
I matter, John.
Michigan facing Ohio State. The Wolverines win this game, and you're in the Rose Bowl, but guess what? Ohio State can make their season by spoiling that. Teddy Ginn Jr. takes his punt and goes 82 yards. He was electrifying today.
Teddy Ginn with his 4th punt return for a touchdown on the year. That sets a Big Ten record and ties an NCAA record.
Ohio State quarterback Troy Smith goes 11 yards to Santonio Holmes.
The name of the day was that the Buckeyes, all their players showed up and made plays, much more so than Michigan.
While Chad Henne had a pretty good day, but not here. He gets picked off, and Ohio State has a 34-14 lead, and it's time for Brutus the Buckeye to celebrate squashing the Roses. However, Brutus, you were wrong, because the Wolverines will be headed to the Rose Bowl just the same. Ohio State a 37-21 winner.
Look at Braylon Edwards' numbers, but that's not the story of the game. It's Teddy Ginn, and it's at Ohio State, and it's the quarterback Troy Smith at Ohio State, hands down. That was the story of the game, Troy Smith.
Okay, Wisconsin against Iowa. This is what we talked about. Wisconsin had to win, knowing Michigan lost. They'd be going to the Rose Bowl. If the Hawkeyes won, Michigan would be in. You follow that? Drew Tate to Scott Chandler. Iowa's up 21-7. They win easily.
They took care of him. I mean, Drew Tate is the magic man for Iowa. This defense last week got run over by Minnesota, over 300 yards on the ground today. Last week, they could not run the ball, Wisconsin, today.
Time now to go to the no-huddle highlights. We begin with Boise State, one of the 5 remaining unbeatens on the blue field. John Helmandaller, 13-yard touchdown run, his 4th of the game. Boise State's up 34-14. They win easily. Tennessee facing Vandy. Tennessee a win, and they get in the SEC championship game. Clausen with a good day.
Yeah, good day for him. That's good news for Tennessee, especially coming up with the championship game.
Iowa State against Kansas State. Iowa State trying to get to the chance to face Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game. Webb is picked off by Hicks, who returns it 40 yards for a touchdown.
Iowa State controlling its own destiny in the Big 12 North, just like they controlled that interception for a touchdown.
Yeah, they beat Missouri next week here on ABC. They're in. South Carolina and Clemson. This was before the game. Lou Holtz, his last game as head coach at South Carolina. Then during the game, this broke out. It was a melee that went into the end zone. Players calling each other out. Lou Holtz can't believe this is his final game before retiring. And Tommy Bowden, the head coach of Clemson, obviously upset at this spectacle on the field, but also put some of the blame on the fight that occurred last night in the NBA.
For 24 hours, they've watched that basketball fiasco on TV. That's all they've watched. I mean, that's on 24 hours a day. Every major news program, that thing was covered, and they've sat there and watched it.
We should note that Ron Artest, Jermaine O'Neal, and Steven Jackson of Indiana have been suspended indefinitely, as has Ben Wallace of the Detroit Pistons, as they continue to look at that. But what do you think?
I think it all filters down.
You do.
You know what? The pro leagues, what happens up there, the dancing, the fighting, whatever happens up there, it works its way down through the college game. It works to the high schools, to the junior highs, and it's a bad example for
It just lets you know that those young kids are watching what's going on in professional sports all the way around. I think everybody's got a responsibility. The players have to have a responsibility to not go after each other and have a little bit of respect and class. And there's honor among thieves out there on the field. Don't go out there and try and hurt nobody. That's not what sports is about. It's about competition, and there's ways to do that.
But that was different. I mean, this South Carolina-Clemson brawl was a little different, obviously. This was, the fans were involved in the NBA deal, but the intensity between South Carolina and Clemson and the emotions took over.
And it's clear. I think what Tommy Bowden says is true. Even if you don't acknowledge that, if you watch it over and over again, it's got to sink into your psyche. We'll continue with more. 21-10, Washington State with the lead.
The Capital One Halftime Show. Brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
This is the Capital One Halftime Show. And a little school spirit for you right now as Washington State has a 21-10 lead. John Saunders, Craig James, Aaron Taylor here as we continue to run down the day's action. Things are starting to fall into place as far as the BCS goes, including Florida State knowing they still had a chance to win in the ACC, Bobby Bowden. This is his field, but it hasn't really been his year. Florida's Chris Leak, 13 yards to Chad Jackson. Florida with a 7-0 lead.
And you know what? He's the difference here. This guy's no question in the 1,000th game of that school's history.
Louisville facing Houston. Brian Brome, 73 yards to Joshua Tinch.
Showing why they're the #1 offense in the country. God, these guys are an interception away from being a BCS berth.
Mississippi against LSU. Ali Broussard, 44 yards, takes it down to the 4-yard line.
LSU, them old Bengal Tigers, they're out there trying to make something out of this season, finish up strong. It's been the offense up and down.
Broussard once again, 14-8 there. You think about LSU if they got off to a quicker start. Let's go back to Auburn and Oklahoma. Any chance that Tennessee can knock off Auburn, or that Iowa State, if it's them, could knock off Oklahoma?
As long as Clawson can get better at quarterback for Tennessee, yes, they can. Tennessee's got a good football team.
They got a chance, but I don't think it's going to be easy. Tuberville's done a great job getting his teams ready.
We'll let Rook have Tennessee. We'll take Auburn in that game.
I got Auburn, baby. I got
Tennessee.
We'll find out who's
like
right.
Tennessee.
Rookies are never right. This is the Capital One halftime show.
When I first saw that framed against that blue sky, I thought it was a new office building in Colfax. But in fact, it is the Apple Cup trophy. And that will be awarded, given in fact by Governor Gary Locke when this game is finally decided. Now, Dan Fouts, let's talk for just a second. We know pretty much who's going to the Rose Bowl. It could be California and Michigan because Wisconsin got beat. Even though the Wolverines lost themselves, they will go because they defeated Iowa. But USC has to lose in order to boot California out of it. If USC goes and runs the table, they go on to the championship game, one would think.
Well, and perhaps the Pac-10 would have two teams, two of the best teams in the country. Cal, a very strong winner today against Stanford. And if Michigan doesn't play better in the Rose Bowl than they played today on the road at Ohio State, Cal will be looking very, very good.
Yes, it probably will. Now the numbers in this ball game, and it's been a ball game of mistakes as much as anything.
Yeah, you see how Washington State has dominated, and really the story of the first half has been the turnovers. The game started with a turnover on the opening kickoff, and it's been that way as 14 points have been scored by Washington State off of Washington's 3 Casey Paws turnovers.
Paws cranking up on the sidelines. They deferred off having won the toss at the opening of the ball game, and so they will have the first offensive possession to start the second half. And Washington State has exercised its opportunities a little more fruitfully than have the Huskies, and in particular where Scott Davis knocked the ball loose and Durding recovered it for a touchdown. They do that pooch kickoff again. This is received by Shackelford, and he comes across the 30 up near the 35. And so the Huskies come out with pretty good field position.
And time for our Pacific Life Game Summer. UW leads the nation in turnovers, and they added 3 more to that dubious record this afternoon. That's Carl Payma's second pick of the season. Casey Paws is going to get the ball knocked away from him by Scott Davis, and Will Durding will pick up his second career touchdown. And then at the end of the first half, it looked like Washington was getting something going in the red zone. The ball hits off of offensive guard Tusi Saoa, and it's an interception by Pat Bennett.
And Cougars get caught in the neutral zone on that snap. Unless, of course, one of the Huskies moved, but Braidwood, Adam was trying to time it, and I think he got caught with his hand in the cookie jar. Here's Todd Harris.
Well, Keith had a chance to talk with Coach Keith Gilbertson. His final talk to the Washington Huskies as their head coach. He said, we're giving the Cougars way too many opportunities and giving them second chances, despite the fact we had a few special team misgaffes. I said, Coach, being as this is your final talk to the Huskies as head coach, was it difficult? He said, no. What's difficult is being down 21-10 to the Washington State Cougars in the Apple Cup. Keith.
All right, Todd, thank you. The penalty call goes against the Huskies. And obviously that's because somebody moved and they enticed Braidwood to get into that neutral zone. But the first play, James Sims carries the ball and he brings it back across the original line of scrimmage and +2. So they'll be looking at 2nd down and 8. Alex Teams is leaving the ball game. Number 21 has just run off the field, and took himself out, and that puts Dada into the secondary for Washington State. Don't know what it is, but something had caused the teams to leave the field. Cougars still trying to time that snap. They're getting close to getting caught again, but it'll go up across the 40 to the 41 on that carry, and Scott Davis will make the tackle. So James Sims is getting the most work he's had all season long tonight and doing pretty well with it.
Well, he's the leading rusher, 13 carries now for 47 yards. He's caught 3 passes for 23 more, and he was in on the first play of the game on the kickoff when he stripped the ball from Prater, and the Huskies got the ball in great field position.
It is 3rd down and long 4. Pass is thrown and caught by Sonny Shackelford. Ball comes out and recovered by Washington.
I think that might have picked up the first down because when Bohannon tackled Shackelford, it looked like he was real close, maybe a little bit short of the first down. Heck of a job by Shackelford to get up off the ground. This is Hamza Abdullah, not Bohannon. Good call. That's a fumble, and heads up by Shackelford, picks up the first down.
And right about that point, Rob Akey jumped 5 feet straight up, hoping one of his guys would get it. The defensive coordinator, and the defense responds on that. No gain on the play. Bohannon, who had to take himself out after banging his ankle in the first half, back in there, and he rode him down.
Yeah, the senior from Richland, Washington, obviously is over that bad ankle, or it's just playing on sheer guts, because that was a great speed move to the outside to take down the ball carrier before he could get to the corner.
2nd down and 10. It's a little less than 10, but well, this Sims sliding off that inside block and got on the corner and swung it upfield. Pretty good gain on the play, up to about the 46-yard line of Washington State. Rob Akey, animated, very aggressive coach, had this comment about the kind of season they've had and what would it mean to win this ball game.
Inexperienced mistakes have put us in some very tough situations this season, and so I'd like to hope that when we get out here in the Apple Cup and guys are playing for pride and a whole lot of things like that, that maybe we'll play a little better than we have and be able to send the seniors out of here doing something that the previous classes haven't done in too long a period of time.
The quarterback never got the ball. That was Rob Akey talking about it, and remind the point he's making.
Dead ball foul. False start on the offense. 5 yards. It remains 3rd down.
The point he's making is the Washington State seniors have never had a win over the Huskies. The reason the ball never received by the quarterback, rolled loose under the center. The Huskies recovered it, but it's a 5-yard penalty against them for a false start. There's the last win the Cougars had in this series in '97. 3rd down and a long 6. Gonna run it. And Sims will be short of it, but a penalty flag goes right into where the tackle was made by Pat Bennett.
Yeah, I think Ropati Patuatoa got a large part of that face mask. Good thing he did, because Sims had a nice gain then on the play. That'll be 1st down for the Huskies as they overcome the penalty on the previous play.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask on the defense. 15 yards to the end of the run. Automatic 1st down.
It is a faltering offense at best here in this possession to start the 2nd half of play by the Huskies, but the Cougars have now continued to help them. There's a lot of face mask in that one.
Yeah, that's a 15-yard variety right there. You turn the head almost all the way around. A little exorcist move there.
Ball's on the 31-yard line for the Huskies on the Cougar side of the field, and Shelton Sampson, number 7, checks into the backfield. Boz has the ball, throwing it down the middle. Intercepted. Jeremy Bohannon picks it off. And the Cougars will take over at their own 21-yard line.
Well, Paws picked out the wrong Husky to throw the ball to. If he looked up and saw Sonny Shackelford, he would see a number 21 wide open at the 10-yard line. Bohannon with great reaction to read the eyes of the quarterback. Here he is right in the middle of the field here. He sees the crossing route, steps right in front of it. Ball was not on target to the Husky anyway. Third pick of the year for Jeremy Bohannon on a bad ankle and all.
This is Jerome Harrison, and I'm looking across the field to see whether or not Jason Hill is out there, and I don't see him.
On the stop, C.J. Wallace, number 1.
Yeah, the other question is, where is Michael Bumpus?
And where is Michael Bumpus? He went out late in the first half with some leg trouble.
Ball's on the 27-yard line.
So that'll be what, 16, 17 picks now for. He came into the ball game with 14, and he's had 3, so he has 17 interceptions now. Does Casey Paws. This is Harrison trying to get to the outside. He's got the wheels, and he's got the first down, and then trips as he turns back inside, looking for a little bit of room on the sidelines. But he's got a good gain out of it up to the 42-yard line, first down.
And he's a little bit embarrassed because he got those wheels going so fast they kind of crossed as he was thinking about cutting across the field once he got past the corner there, running away from Goltz and number 8 right there. Now he's thinking about his moves and trips himself.
Harrison has 15 carries and 76 yards tonight, Dan.
Been that kind of game, hasn't it?
Yep. Cougars going with a double tight end alignment now, with Bumpus and Hill apparently missing from the lineup. And they go back to Harrison again, and he's going to fight and get about 2 yards, maybe 3.
You know, Keith, we talked about the Cougars' injury problems this year, how they seem to have happened in pairs. Well, they lose 2 wide receivers in the first half, Hill and Bumpus.
They're out there on the sidelines, but they have not made an appearance in the game. Hill may very well have a mild concussion. Rink trying to get them all in the right place. Passes away down the sidelines. Got a man out there. It's good to Chris Jordan. But he had to lay out to catch it, and therefore didn't get his touchdown.
Yeah, they beat the double coverage again, Keith. It's a soft zone, and Goldson's having problems getting all the way over to this area of the field. That's his responsibility. The safety should always be deeper than the receiver, and Goldson a couple of times today has struggled with that cover 2 look.
Now Hill and Bumpus are both on the field, both of them. And the pass goes into the end zone. Touchdown, Jason Hill. There's your record. School record, 12 touchdown receptions for Jason Hill. And now there's penalty flags thrown around for the celebrating, I'm sure.
Yeah, no question about that, Keith. But obviously the aspirin worked at halftime for that mild concussion for Jason Hill. 12 touchdown receptions now, and this 12th one is just a beauty. Running between the double coverage, reaching high, and hauling it in.
Sam Cunningham's had a hard night. Well, they got him for excessive celebrating. They call it unsportsmanlike conduct, but I don't blame him. Jason, jump up and down and holler all you want. It's that other nonsense, that dancing and jiggling around and all that stuff, that drives me crazy. But
he danced a little and he jiggled a little bit and he jumped really high and dunked the ball.
With his, that's what got him in trouble, was dunking it.
Yep.
He was with his teammates.
Yeah, you can tell that some of these officials have never had any fun in their lives.
Oh, you're hard. Kick is good.
I just believe that when there's a special moment like this in a special series and a guy sets a school record, heck, let him celebrate.
(28-10) ball game. Cougars have the lead after that reception by Jason Hill. And the Chevrolet Drive summary now with Dan.
Big plays on that drive. Alex Brink, 2 passes, 2 completions, and a beautiful touchdown to Jason Hill.
Ball rolling around on a squib kick. I don't know if he whiffed it or intended to do it, but he got it on the ground and didn't work out all that well because Washington's going to possess the ball at their own 48-yard line. So they're having a hard time with some of their kicking, and we're going to get a quarterback change now, it looks like, for the Washington Huskies. It'll be Isaiah Stanback coming into the game, with Casey Paws throwing 3 picks here in the ball game so far. But a 28-10 lead gives the Cougars that 18-point edge, and that's quite a bit. And we'll have Dr. Elaine Rawlins with us, the president of Washington State University, in just a moment. Shelton Sampson is your single back, and Stanback, who is the better running quarterback of the threesome the Huskies have used, hands it off, and there's nothing there for James Sims on the play. Dr. Rawlins, who turned things around at what we used to know as Memphis State and then the University of Memphis, and got a shirt-tail cousin of mine over there to coach, and lo and behold, they're having a pretty good season. But
they are, yeah.
Here we are with the Cougars, and you got to be pleased with the way things are going tonight.
Well, it's been a long time since we won an Apple Cup, so we're ready for one. And I'm just holding my breath because we lost 2 or 3 in the 4th quarter, so we'll just see how it works out.
There's a gain of about 3 yards on the carry by James Sims. I talked a little bit with Dr. Emmert, Mark Emmert, about some of the things that you're dealing with these days in collegiate athletics. And there's enough to talk about for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But this, for you, has been one of those Kipling-esque seasons, you know, if.
Right.
And
right.
So you don't have the real problems that some folks do in trying to guess where you might be going to a bowl game and whether or not you're going to be included in the BCS. I tell you what, if I were the president of the University of Utah, I might be a little edgy.
Yeah, I think so. But it would be a good kind of edge. I think they're pretty happy about where they are. It's been a long trek for that league.
Stanback on a roll, throws wildly up the sidelines. Where are you with this BCS stuff now? They've added the 5th game. Is that going to be a wart, or is that going to be pacification?
I don't think we know until we play it for a little while. I know that there's a real division about that 5th game, and there were some who preferred a 5th game after the first 4 games. That would have been not exactly a playoff, but would have matched up some others. It certainly was partly to placate some people who felt that they were not fairly treated and probably weren't fairly treated. But I don't know whether there's a market for that game.
We'll be back with Dr. Rawlins in a moment. We need to take this time out with a score 28-10, Washington State leading their ball out at their own 20 when we come back. Visiting with Dr. Lane Rawlins here for a few minutes in the 3rd quarter of play, with Washington State leading Washington 28-10. All this talk about playoff. Couldn't we satisfy this whole thing by having a semifinal, final, 4 teams after all the bowls are over?
I think for some people that would be satisfying. Of course, you've always got the 5th team that may not feel that they were fairly treated. I think there's some division about it. I personally, as I get older, the less I care about whether there's a unanimous national champion. And one of the things I think all the emphasis on the championship does is that it takes away a little bit the glory of a game like this, an Apple Cup, because everybody says it doesn't mean anything anymore because you're not bowl bound and all of that. It means a lot to these kids, and I wish we could get a little more of that returned to college football.
Well, all the other bowls are being hurt by it, too.
Oh, they are. And all the other bowls, there's a lot of bowls these days.
Well, maybe too many, because everybody should not be guaranteed the bowl game. Frankly, I think 7 wins is a more realistic number than 6 anyhow.
't we've, I was on a committee for the NCAA, and we talked a lot about that, and there were a number of us who suggested that maybe the bowls number ought to be reduced. but we were, I guess, soundly outvoted on that. So.
Well, the problem shows up in the fact that the Pac-10 conference couldn't satisfy all of its bowl commitments this year.
Yeah,
so that's a problem.
I think so. And when you have more, if you have 6 wins, you have more than half of the people in your conference guaranteed a bowl. I don't know what that bowl means. I mean, it's still fun for the kids, and I wouldn't take it away from them, but it isn't a championship kind of situation, certainly.
Well, speaking of getting your feet tangled up, the quarterback got his feet tangled up and fell down. Alex Brink went down for a big loss, and that'll bring up a punting down for the Cougars. While we're watching this punt here, let me ask you one more quick question. Have we given up control of college football by letting the conference commissioners and bowl promoters control the postseason?
I think to a certain extent, yes. The NCAA has not controlled anything about football in a long time. I think the existence of the BCS and the governance process that was put together around it actually put a little bit more control in it. And I'm very much in favor of the steps and processes that are going on right now. I think we did have a way, for example, to negotiate our way through this 5th bowl, and there was no other way to do it.
One other question. Is Notre Dame a team, a conference, or a nation?
I think you have to ask Father Malloy that question.
Lane's nice to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you, Keith. Always good to have you back in Pullman.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
The only problem I have with the situation with not naming a national champion is that college football is the only college sport that does not have a unanimous champion.
Well, it's true, but...
And I love the bowl games. You know that. But I also think that in this day and age, this new century, we need to have a national title.
But the people who've got to deal with it are the presidents.
And it sounds like they're ready to start dealing.
They have to be the people. No question about it. That's why I asked these 2 gentlemen to spend some time with us tonight to talk about it. James Sims carries on that play and gets up a couple of yards on it. Tomorrow, ABC Sports will take you to Spain for the final round action of the World Golf Championships World Cup. Tomorrow at 3 Eastern and noon Pacific here on ABC. Jimenez and Garcia are the leaders. Stand back, running that option down the line as Gilby's given him a chance to play and see if a little bit of that option stuff can work against the Cougar defense, because they're behind by 18 points with 5:20 to play in the 3rd quarter.
It's a miserable night for Casey Paws. 10 of 24 for just 74 yards. He did throw a touchdown pass to Joe Toledo, but he's thrown the ball 3 times to the Cougs and fumbled once. That resulted in a touchdown.
3rd down and 2. Pass, good pass. Pass is caught by Craig Chambers. Chambers is going to go down on the 1. It'll be 1st and goal, Huskies at the Cougar 1-yard line.
Working against the senior Carl Payma, and a beautiful pass by Isaiah Stanback. Just pure speed by Chambers. And this ball out in front, even with Payma's right hand on his left arm, Chambers makes the catch and just comes up inches short of a touchdown. Great concentration and great effort right there.
I think one of the players of the future, a redshirt freshman named Chambers, just emerged in the closing games of the year and will be very, very prominent when they put on the hats again next spring. Sims is deep. Stanback keeps it and gets in for the touchdown.
Boy, what a risky move by Stanback.
Whoa.
At about the 2-yard line, he decided to turn up the field and put the ball in his right hand and stretch for the end zone. No Cougar saw this ball hanging out there. But boy, if they did, they're going to knock it loose. That's a long time to have that ball exposed, but he did get in for the score.
And here's your point try by Knudsen. Good. So the Huskies climb back into things a bit here at 28-17. 4:26 to play in the third quarter.
It's a clear but chilly evening here tonight in Pullman, but it wasn't in 1992. Cougar great Drew Bledsoe threw for 259 yards and a couple of touchdowns in the infamous Snow Bowl. And the Cougars won the Apple Cup for the first time in 4 years. Tonight, of course, they're trying to win it for the first time in 7 years.
27 degrees right now. That's no wind. It's extraordinary.
It's lucky.
Yay. Broadstein kicks it high. Harrison. Jerome looking for a crack and gets across the 30 to the 31. ABC Sports presentation of college football is brought to you by the Hartford Mutual Funds, official corporate partners of the NCAA. Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Be you. Nothing's better, Dr. Pepper. Cadillac and the new STS with available performance tuned all-wheel drive. Breakthrough and AOL for broadband. Proud sponsor of First and 10. Cougars to the attack. Ball fumbled. He never had it. Harrison just released it as he started looking for the hole. The ball bounced. There's a Cougar there to fight for it, and two Huskies at the time the ball hit the ground. Now they'll have to pull and tug and guess and finally come up with an answer.
Yeah, it was either Lightbody or Millhauser at the bottom of that. A couple of big, strong guys. Cougs actually picked up a pretty good gain on that play after the fumble. Never had complete control of that ball. And how fortunate for the Cougs that the Huskies didn't get on this one.
Lightbody weighs 320. Armstrong's 322. There's some big people in there struggling for it. And the fight goes up to about the 35-yard line on this one with Harrison carrying, and he got 1 yard. Here's another update from John in New York.
Well, Keith, we're going to try and get the BCS picture a little bit clearer. First on this play, Kellen Clements goes 2 yards for the touchdown to Tim Day. Second time that they have hooked up, as it is now BCS champion. There's a look at the picture as it lines up. Plus the two at-large teams, which could be Cal or Utah.
Oh, that's a bad pass. He had his man open on the play, Trendon Harvey, and Harvey had room to run if he throws the ball out in front of him.
And if Matt Fontaine catches the ball, he has room to run to the end zone.
Yep. So that one is on Brink.
That's a couple of times tonight that Brink's been real lucky not to be picked off.
Basler punting, Basler. And Sonny Shackelford is waiting for it. Basler's a big guy, 230 pounds, and he can hammer it. He gets all his foot on the ball, gets a low liner, a lot of spin on it. And back to the 20-yard line goes Shackelford, picks his way back to the 30 and goes down. Time permitting, the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report with scores and highlights across the country. How late you going to make those guys work? For crying out loud, it's almost 10 o'clock in New York. That's recorded, I can tell. They haven't got a smile that big left. Not after the day they put in. Long day. Steinbach comes out at quarterback. Oh, he got his engineered the touchdown drive and scored with a very dangerous play. He's changing things. And the old tired lineman hunkered down there getting cramps and saying, hurry up, kid. Out to the 35-yard line. Ball is caught by Whitthorne. Another update from New York.
I was like, Keith, thanks a lot. Here's what we were talking about before. The BCS from the ACC, it looks like it's going to be Virginia Tech or Miami that control their own fate. In the Big East, probably Boston College. USC is already in, Michigan as well. Winner in the SEC, winner in the Big 12, and, of course, two at large right now would be Cal and Utah. Keith.
Yeah, USC is in regardless because they'll go to the Rose Bowl if they should lose a game and not get to the big dance, as they say. At the 35-yard line, the ball carrier is thrown down. Will Durden gets that tackle on James Sims. Gained a yard up to the 36.
And actually, USC could lose 2 games and still make the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, 38. Yeah, they could if they lose to Notre Dame. That doesn't count in the Pac-10. And all the old Trojans who are watching right now just groaned when I said that. 3rd down and 2. Stand back throws. He's right on it. Ball by Shackelford. And that'll be a 1st down. So Isaiah Stanback looking pretty good as he comes on here at the end of the 3rd quarter, and we'll spend a moment with Todd.
Well, Keith, as you and Dan both know, Will Durden really anchors this Washington State defense. He is from Okanagan, Washington, and he is a grand champion. He's an accomplished linebacker, but he's also a champion in beef fitting. I don't know what beef fitting is. You'll tell me later on, maybe on the bus ride to Spokane. But the junior says, despite the talk that he could turn pro, he will be back to dress cattle and dress down opposing offenses in the Pac-10 next year.
He enjoys college football. Stand back with those feet. He's got quick. And they'll haul him down after he gets up to about the 46-yard line.
Stanback really performing well for the Huskies. Just got him in the end zone moments ago. Completed 3 out of 4 and used real good judgment on that play not to throw the ball into coverage. The Cougs were deep, playing a zone, nobody open. He was lucky to pick up a couple yards there.
Well, you saw what Troy Smith did today for Ohio State, huh?
Boy, is he something.
2nd down and 7. Well, they got him this time short of the line of scrimmage. Steve Dildan filled the gap, stepped in and made the tackle. Time's run out in the 3rd quarter as Washington State leads 28-17. An ABC Sports presentation of college football returns after this message and a word from our ABC station. Brian Hall Tower. It's supper time. Mr. Ian and I used to walk around that in the summertime.
Never in the winter, though, huh?
Oh, yes. Best time. 3rd down and 8. He's got some quick. That's a 1st down. Huskies on the 45-yard line. So Isaiah Stanback has come into the ball game and sort of revitalized the Husky offense. 28-17, and we'll take this update from New York.
Keith, thanks a lot. Oregon State again. The Civil War continues. Derek Anderson, 30 yards to Mike Haas, who makes a leaping grab and goes up for the touchdown. Oregon State cruising. 41-21 to score there, and Utah has opened up the lead over BYU as they look to remain unbeaten. Now 38-21. Keith.
Okay, thanks, John.
Yeah, thanks a lot, John.
Oh, my word, are we going to have a cranky critter on the bus going north. Anthony Russo on that reception. And a pickup of about 9 yards.
Yeah, Isaiah Stanback making a statement tonight for playing time next year. The quarterback run on the previous play. The one guy that's not accounted for by the defense is the running quarterback, especially when they were preparing for a pocket passer like Casey Paws.
There goes Sims, and that's 1st down. Takes it to the 33. It's an 11-point, let's see, 28-17, 11 points and a touchdown. That makes that fourth quarter a ringer as we've got 14:20 left.
And the Huskies are feeling very confident, very good about themselves right now. And the Cougars have got to be wondering, where is Stanback in this Husky offense going to attack us next?
And you start looking over your shoulder. You got some troubles. They missed him. He got pursuit on him, but they missed him behind the line of scrimmage. But that one wasn't missed as Dirting came across and leveled James Sims.
And Hamza Abdullah from his safety spot came up and really put the pressure on Stanback to pitch the ball and then made a play on the running back. Then Dirting came and cleaned things up. Here's Will Dirting. Actually, there he is right there. These are the feet right there of Abdullah. As he makes the play on Sims, turns it back to where Dirting polishes him off. 9 tackles and a touchdown for Will Dirting tonight.
Second down, 11 at the 34-yard line of Washington State. Stand back. They flush him. He throws it and is out of bounds, incomplete. Bobby Whitthorne, redshirt freshman out of Santa Margarita.
Got a late flag, Keith. I think maybe the Cougs might have been in the neutral zone. Nope, illegal receiver downfield for Washington. Thinking that Stanback was going to run with this one after he got out of the pocket.
Yeah, the flag was thrown across by the linesman across the way. And
ineligible receiver downfield on the offense, number 63. That penalty's declined. Third down.
They're not used to having a quarterback run around that long.
No, and I'm surprised that they declined this penalty. I would push the Huskies back even further. Make it a second down and 21 instead of third and 11. Because you know the Huskies are going to go for it on fourth down, or they got to lose.
Absolutely. Sampson and James are the people behind the quarterback. Stand back, getting some pressure, looking, coming around this side. Dirting's after him. Dirting missed him. The man following got him. Number 75, Ropati. He was in the hunt, and the big fella got him. 6'8", 285 pounds, 89 pounds. Peter Tua. Bob Akey likes him a lot.
Yeah, he does, and this is why. Number 75 beating the block there of Sao, and then just staying with it. Dirting turns him back. He takes him down.
The kick is caught at the 12 by Jerome Harrison. Bumpus is dinged up because he normally returns those kicks. This time they had the tailback, Jerome Harrison, back there. Cougars possessed the ball at the 13-yard line. Harrison caught it on the 12, fell forward for a yard. He's in there as the deep back. Benjamin and Boyd double tied in here with Hill and Bumpus out of it. And Harrison gets stood up at the line of scrimmage by Tim Galloway.
Well, Pacific Live Game Summary will tell us all about Alex Brink's evening, the freshman from Eugene, Oregon. It's Troy Benjamin with that 6-yarder first quarter. Then he runs one in from 1 yard out. And then this beautiful 22-yard strike to Jason Hill. 12 of 19, 217, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions.
So far.
And he does not want to have one here, or the Huskies will be back in business.
Harrison gets 3 blockers in front of him. Down the sidelines, he needs one more, and he can't get it. He tried to slow up and couldn't, and they take him out, and there's a penalty flag back at the 27-yard line.
Boy, you talk about a convoy on a running play. This looked like a punt return. Looked like he had a picket line set up. The penalty's going to wipe it all out, but it sure was fun while it was going.
He had 3 big fellas in front of him.
Offense number 70. Penalty's 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Repeat, second down.
Penalties on Bobby Bird, and we're off to New York and John.
Keith, BYU trying to stay with Utah, but it is pretty difficult when you give up runs like this one. Steve Savoy has no business getting out of the pack. There's at least 6 or 7 guys who get their mitts on him, and then it's just speed. And there's 2 guys faster than the BYU guys. Goes all the way to 92 yards for the touchdown. Utah up 38-21. Keith.
Well, that ought to be enough, shouldn't it? Second down and 5. After that run is nullified by the penalty. And this is Brink rolling out. Little change of direction. Look at that Benjamin come back and get that. That ball was behind him. He just reached back and scooped it into his body. And it's first down, Cougars up at the 34.
Benjamin, who's had a shin problem, is working at about 90%, but he looks like he's maybe in trouble on the sidelines now. But what an athletic move for a guy 6'4", 245 pounds to reach back with one hand basically and haul it in.
Where would he play on Sunday?
Anywhere he wants. In my game. I like him.
This is Alan Thompson, who has great explosiveness at that tailback position. He just had one injury, one surgery after another. Just 1, 2, 3, 4. And finally is healthy now.
And he returns next year along with Jerome Harrison. And these wide receivers, Hill, Jordan, Bumpus, Martin. A lot of firepower for Alex Brink.
Or Josh Swagger. Or whomever. This is Harrison picking his way through. He's got a first down and working on down the sidelines. He's got a pretty good gain out of it down to the Washington 41-yard line.
The other thing that the Cougs are working on is breaking the Husky spirit right now. This team comes in at 1-9, staring at 1-10. Harrison now over 100 yards with that carry.
Still working. Alan Thompson. When you've got Thompson and Harrison and Brune is healthy again, mostly healthy. You've got 3 pretty good backs to throw at him.
Harrison getting loose on the sidelines, maybe battling a cramp problem or a pulled muscle.
Brink looking to throw. Couldn't get it over the top and into the hands of Cody Boyd. Tried to loop it over and beyond Evan Benjamin covering the tight end. Couldn't do it.
He certainly had enough time to find Boyd running across the entire football field there. That offensive line really doing a super job. Brink's been sacked 3 times tonight, but one of those is when he tripped himself and went down.
Third and long now. Third down, long 8. 8.5. Throws to Hill back in the ball game, and Jason gets hit pretty quickly by Hapoi, and they're well short of any first down here, so they'll have to punt it away, leading 28-17.
Yeah, Hapoi is a defensive tackle, one of these big guys right in here. Watch, he's going to drop out and look for this jailbreak screen. Really good reaction there by number 56 as he brings down a dangerous receiver.
No pressure. Got a chance to kill it deep. Got a chance to kill it deep. Stop it from rolling around, guys. They almost let it roll back across the 5. Abdullah was down there and slapped it back from the goal line. And they'll put it down on the 5 where the Huskies will have it.
(28-17) our score in the fourth quarter now. Time for our Dodge defensive playbook. Big play in that first half. Watch Scott Davis come free on the quarterback, Casey Paws, and then watch number 51, Will Dirting, pursue this ball and pick it up, lay on it for the Cougar touchdown. Second career touchdown for number 51. Big play by number 42, Scott Davis.
Sampson and Sims now line up behind Stanback. First down, Huskies at their own 5-yard line. Cougar faithful back in that end of the field, giving them the business. The ball is looped upfield, and that'll be a penalty flag thrown by the field judge over here, and it's probably going to go against Carl Pema, who was defending Craig Chambers.
Well, and this ball even got to Chambers' hands. If he catches it, he's just about now crossing the goal line. Pema with the pass interference. Good throw by Isaiah Stanback.
Defense, number 15, penalties 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
15 is Pema. He's all over the back of Chambers, but that ball got through and almost would have been a huge play for Washington.
Penalty puts it out on the 20-yard line. Not a spot of the foul penalty as it is in that other game. Cougars have 8 now for an even 100 yards in the ball game, and yet they're leading by 11 points at 8:48 to play in the ball game. On first down, Stanback gets a little heat from the backside, dodges it, gets away, gets his pass off, and throws it into the Cougar side. Incomplete. Bruce was the man, McChristo Bruce was the one tormenting him.
Yeah, and then number 51 came, and he was all business. Will Dirting was chasing Stanback at the end, and I think Stanback knew he couldn't get away from this young man. And so he just flung it out of bounds.
Stanback with a little roll to buy some time. Now gets more help. Oh, now he runs into a bunch of trouble. 75, Pitatua and Adam Braidwood.
Stanback just puts too much pressure on his offensive line. That's a designed rollout, and he quit the rollout because of the pressure on that side. And then it's just impossible to protect for him. And with the speed of this defensive line of the Cougs, they're going to chase him down eventually. Sprint out to the right. He stops here because of the penetration by Braidwood, then turns back, and there's Braidwood and Toa for the sack.
Braidwood, Delta, British Columbia, just over the border. He's been a very steady player since he came down here. It's third down and 22, and the play clock is long since at 0. Where's the flag?
There it comes.
There it comes. Finally, the side judge over there comes running onto the field and says, clock expired.
Prior snap, dead ball delay of game. Offense, half the distance, remains third down. Will the timer please reset the clock to 7 minutes and 43 seconds. 7, 4, 3.
Cougars jumped out to the lead at halftime and made it a comfortable one at 28-10. Huskies have come back to score to make it 28-17. That's where we are with 7:43 to play in the ball game. And that penalty puts Washington back just inside their own 5-yard line. Well, they're struggling right now. The Cougars have been able to get the hang of Stanback and his option stuff, but here's a play opening up in the middle as James Sims has a nice run, gets out to about the 20 where the penalty was levied.
Actually, they're going to say his knee touched down at about the 16-yard line.
Yeah.
Heck of an effort by Sims to try to get a little bit more, but you're right, Keith. This pass rush now has got Stanback figured out, and this is just an impossible situation to try to pick it up with the draw play.
Well, they crashed the barrier, but the punt's out of there, and it's the best one of the night. I mean, it is far and away the best one of the night. Holy smokes. Knutson just killed it. I mean, Douglas just killed it. 78-yard punt for Sean Douglas. Wow.
Let's take a look at 1997, and a pleasant moment for Cougar fans as Ryan Leaf leads Washington State to a victory in Seattle. This win gave the Cougs a share of the Pac-10 title, and Leaf celebrated in typical Leaf fashion in the Husky end zone as the Cougs were headed to the Rose Bowl.
That 78-yard punt by Sean Douglas, the second longest in Husky history, and carrying the ball, Jerome Harrison, from the 7 to the 10 for 3. Jerome's looking to see if his body is permanently bent in the shape of a football after he finally got up, and there were 900 pounds on top of him.
Yeah, ball security very important now for the Cougs, backed up like they are. Plenty of time left for a miracle Washington comeback.
6-10. Harrison again. 2 yards. Galloway. Attendance tonight, 34,334. Todd Harris has found himself into a place where they serve better food.
Well, Keith, I found myself in the booth of the voice of the Washington State Huskies. I've got Bob Robertson and Jim Walden. Fortunately, they're on the air right now, so we're going to listen into them. And the voice of the Cougars just carrying on.
What a good football player he is. All right, it'll be receiver out to the left side for Washington State. That's Trandon Harvey. 2 men out to the right. Signals called. Motion back through the formation. Martin right to the left side. Back goes Brink almost to the goal line. Pump fake. Now runs out to the left-hand side. May have to run for this one. He's at the 10, the 13, and pulled down. And he went down inbounds. So the clock will keep running with 5 minutes left to play in the football game. And the punting unit coming on for Washington State. And couldn't the Cougars use one of those position changers now? Right?
Well, if they punted 78 to get us in this hole, how about punting at 75 to get them back? But great job by the Husky punter. And now he switched the field position completely around.
Bosler standing at his own goal line getting ready for the snap to punt. Slow minimally a snap to ball. And it will be Simmons Shackelford back to receive. And they'll let that clock run as far down as they can. We're at 4:30 to go in the ball game now as the Cougars get ready to kick the ball. Snap back, here's the kick away. Good high kick. Shackelford going back to his left inside the 40, back to the 37 to get it. Got away from the first tackler, up over the 35, 45, and down he goes and driven back. But he got outside to the 46-yard line before Eric Frampton, back in the ball game, made the tackle for Washington State. And the Washington Huskies have the football with 4:12.
All right, Bob Robertson and Jim Walden. Jim, of course, was a coach here, and a good one, coached at Iowa State. And Bob Robertson, gosh, I've known him a half a century. He's been here a long time, and a penalty call, it's against the Cougars. And that determined look on Dave Gutaya's face tells you the extent of it.
And the concern on the face of Bill Doba, as field position will be good for the Huskies.
Yeah, they were on the 46. So tack 15 onto that, and over the other side it goes, and now the Huskies are going downhill.
The face mask on Washington State during the return. Penalties 15 yards to the end of the run. First down, immediate timeout.
So you've got a timeout. And a concerned Bill Doba now pacing the sidelines as the Huskies are in pretty good field position. They got the Huskies right to the line of scrimmage, over the ball and ready to go on first down. ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Pacific Life, offering insurance, annuities, and investments. Pacific Life, the power to help you succeed. Konica Minolta, makers of BizHub, the hub of your business, and AOL for broadband, proud sponsor of First and 10. Stand back, play action, looking deep. Got a man. Touchdown. Craig Chambers. Got a ball game. 4:04 to play.
Great play call by John Pettis, offensive coordinator. Little bootleg, good protection for Stanback, and then Chambers just turned on the Jets, working against Alex Teams, number 21, as he just splits the entire secondary. Ball right on his hip, and the Huskies are back in this one, and the Cougs may be couging it.
Going for two. It's 29-23. 2-point success will make it 29-25. Touchdown would win it. Stanback's pass. Good. Chambers right on the back of the end zone. And that's what you've got, a 4-point ball game with 4:04 to play. And 28-25. I look at that scoreboard, and the lights, one of the lights is out.
Yes, it is.
And it looks like 29. 28-25. And 2-point conversion then makes it a field goal tie and a touchdown win.
A great throw by Stanback. Great catch by Chambers. And a great moment for Keith Gilbertson. His decision to go for 3 there was the right one. His team executed perfectly, and what a mature type of throw and catch for Stanback and Chambers. The fade route thrown to the back of the end zone. Chambers, just like an elastic man, reaches out, gets it, gets both feet in for the 2-pointer.
That amazing. He didn't show up until the tail end of the season.
And he's going to have people thinking about Reggie Williams, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. All right, 28-25. And Washington now pretty pumped.
And a lot of time, the Huskies have all 3 of their timeouts, as do the Cougars.
Well, they've got some good hands people up on the front, but I wouldn't anticipate onside, but I could anticipate pooch. Pop it up. We'll see. Yeah, they get it high. And got pretty good distance on it, getting it that high. The return will bring the ball back up to the 30-yard line, though, and the Cougars will have pretty good field position. Thanksgiving Friday, ABC's college football doubleheader kicks off at noon Eastern, 9 in the morning Pacific time. Colorado, Nebraska, followed by Texas A&M, Texas at 3:30 Eastern and 12:30 Pacific. Our football feast then continues next Saturday at 1 Eastern with a lineup of regional action at 8 Eastern and 5 Pacific. You'll have Notre Dame in the Coliseum against top-ranked USC. So check the local listings for the games in your area. Break throwing, swings it out over here. The pass is incomplete. Threw it wide of Jerome Harrison. 2nd down and 10. 3 and out in this field position will give Washington the ball in pretty good shape.
And an incomplete pass stops the clock.
Yep.
Even if Harrison caught this ball, Evan Benjamin was right in his face. Going to be a heck of a collision.
Jason Hill has just gone off the field. He looks pretty tender. We haven't seen Bumpus in a good long time now. Brink hands it off, and Jerome Harrison will take it out to the 35-yard line, and that'll be 3rd down and 5 they're looking at.
And now they start to think about running some time off the clock. The 2 tight ends go out. Hill and Bumpus come back in. But with Jet Collins at fullback and with Cody Boyd and Troy Benneman, you saw just how many yards they got with that handoff to Harrison, and they kept the clock running.
Now they've got to throw it, you would think. Benneman. He's got it. It's a catch. He went down with the ball and cradled it to his body, and it's a yard beyond the marker. 1st down, Cougars. And the clock shows 3:11 to play.
Smart play by Alex Brink. Good call by coordinator Mike Levenseller to get the ball to your big tight end working against the linebacker. 4th catch of the night for Benneman.
Brandon Harvey comes way wide. That's Benneman to the top of the picture. And pitch it to Jerome Harrison. And he wiggles around and picks up about 6 yards.
That's all that power on that right side. They continue to run behind the 2 tight ends, Benneman and Boyd, and Collins as a blocking back. Huskies use their first timeout. That's what we're talking about. Here's Boyd, here's Benneman, here's Collins, and the pitch. And it's a nice 6-yard gain for Jason Harrison, who now has 129 yards on 25 carries. The Huskies are not adjusting to that formation at all. I would think that if I'm Mike Levenseller, I'd do the same thing a couple more times.
Yeah, because you never know when Harrison's going to pop out of there.
Yeah, you know, the other part of that, Keith, is that the Huskies have got to crowd the line of scrimmage, but everybody up in that box, and if he pops through that first layer, there is no 2nd or 3rd. That's a gamble you take. That's a gamble you must take.
I hope those kids got their flu shot. I heard a guy on the radio this morning talking about where they could go get free flu shots for 8 hours today. The only problem was it was in Coeur d'Alene. It's a ways from here. The ball is on the 46-yard line, 2nd down and 5. There goes Harrison bouncing outside, tackle side. There's the 1st down. Picked up 7 yards on that carry.
Yeah, finding the room on the right side, Sam light body, the human oxymoron at 320 pounds. More power on that right side. Harrison very patient as he hits in here. Watch as he just searches behind Collins. Looks for a little gap and then gets headed up the field. 1st down, Cougs.
Ball is on the Washington 48. And there's a penalty flag.
Yeah, Jet Collins moved too soon. Lead blocker. He was looking up Galloway again.
Prior to snap, dead ball foul, offense 44, false start. 5 yards, it remains 1st down.
So it'll be 1st and 15.
There's Collins right here. And you mark it, say go.
.208 to play.
Yeah, they're trying to get a couple more seconds put back on the clock.
Bill Doba on the right, Rob Akey on the left.
Rob Akey telling Doba, get a 1st down or 2 so we don't have to put the defense back out there.
Rob Akey is as I'm told, a prime candidate for the head coaching job at Weber State, which is where he played for Mike Price. And Mike Price won his 8th game of the season tonight at UTEP. This is Jerome Harrison stepping around, breaking loose, getting clear, penalty flag. It may come back.
Boy, the Cougs were they had everything going in their favor. Now a couple penalties back to back, the offsides, and now the holding. They're going to be put in a situation where they're going to have to throw the ball to pick up the first down to run this clock out.
Holding. Offense number 66. Penalty 10 yards, bottom foul. Repeat first down.
That's called on the center, Nick Milhauser.
Now let's check out Nick Milhauser, number 66 right here. He's going to get out in front. Good mobility for a center. There's Galloway. And he just takes him right on down to the turf. You see that call not called a lot. That type of block. Milhauser saying that's bogus.
Oh, what was holding on to the top of his head. I don't blame him.
Yeah, that penalty was called right in front of him. He had a good look at it. Not sure he believes what he saw.
1st and 25. It was 1st and 10 on the Husky 48. 2 plays ago. This is Harrison trying to bounce outside and couldn't get there. Hustling over to make a tackle is C.J. Wallace. He's had a big night.
And that's one of those cases where C.J. should have just pushed him out of bounds instead of taking him down. I mean, you can't fault him for taking him down, but if he pushes him out of bounds, the Huskies don't have to use their second timeout right here.
So the Huskies now will have 1 timeout remaining. The time on the clock is 1:34. Today's Chevrolet players of the game, Isaiah Stanback of Washington, since he rallied the Huskies in the second half, 3rd and 4th quarters, and number 42 for Washington State, Scott Davis, who had a big night of 10 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble, and in recognition of their efforts, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund.
That forced fumble by Scott Davis resulted in a Will Dirting touchdown. And in a game that's a 3-point game, how big was that play by Davis and Dirting?
Davis is, as a sophomore, he'll be back. So the things look pretty good for next year. But then, you know, next year, that's kind of like that old potential stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. We've all got potential.
Yep. Even a hickory treat. 2nd down and 24. 1:34 to play, though, and only 1 timeout remaining. I would say time would be the ally of Washington State.
Well, they'll definitely be able to run it down quite a bit. I would think that they're just going to run the ball the next couple of plays to force Washington to take that last time out.
Harrison coming this way, getting some help. Not quite enough help, though, because C.J. Wallace was in there again for another tackle, and he only gained about 3 yards on the play. C.J. Wallace, sophomore, Sacramento. Other way, there you go. Late games are hard, especially if you're used to getting up at 6:30 in the morning. What has coaching meant to Keith Gilbertson? Well, he's leaving after this game. He's done. He'll clean out his office Monday and go on his way. This is what he said about what coaching has given him.
There's a lot of guys that never get to go to a Rose Bowl, coaching a Rose Bowl, playing one. I've been to 3 or 4 and won, and had a chance of being a winning team every time. I won a national championship. I have a national championship ring from the University of Washington. So I'm lucky. I got to do what I did for as long as I did at a place like that.
He never really, I don't think, had a chance. He stepped into the Washington situation. There was just too much turmoil, too much of everything. Never really had a chance to do his thing.
And he won't be unemployed for long. With the reputation that he has, as a coordinator, line coach, as a football coach. He could do a lot of things.
He may be like a lot of guys, though, that they love to coach, they love the things that go with it, but being a head coach becomes political. Here's a pitch to Jerome Harrison. He got a hole, and he's all the way down to the original line of scrimmage, the 48-yard line. Boy, he almost popped that thing. But they're going to have to kick it now. It'll be 4th down. The clock is running at 1:05. Huskies with no more times out. Can't stop the clock. So the Cougars can afford here to hum and haw a little bit. They can take a 5-yard penalty and not hurt themselves.
Yeah, it looks like that's what they're going to do, Keith. Send Kyle Bossler out. But Bossler did have a punt blocked last week against Arizona State. That's what the Huskies will be trying to do right now, is put as much pressure on him, either force a bad punt or get one altogether.
There's the whistle, there's the flag, and the Cougars have called a timeout rather than take the flag. So right on the last tick, they call a timeout. 35 seconds.
Well, Keith, let's go back to this fantastic finish back in 1975 with the Huskies trailing 27-21 late. First-year starter Warren Moon launches this desperation pass. It looks like it could be picked off by the Cougs, but look what Bob Gaines found, a touchdown pass and a Washington win. Could it happen again?
Well, there'll be a lot of bodies to haul away if it does, because some of these old Cougars will just have a fit.
Come on, you old Coug.
Well,
where's your feel for the dramatic here?
I can't be involved in that stuff. I'm just trying to get the game over with.
Well, I can't fault you for that.
More than one reason for that, too.
You're as honest as the day is long, aren't you?
Yep.
Well, I appreciate that. Warren Moon wearing number 12 in that clip. Later switched to a more appropriate number 1, didn't he?
Yes, sir. And he was one of those number 1s, I'll tell you.
That's true.
97th Apple Cup game. Of course, back in the days when I did the games here and for the Huskies in Seattle, they didn't call it the Apple Cup. But I saw some barn burners between these two teams. They try for the block, but he gets it out. Nice high long kick all the way back to the 10-yard line, trying to set up the picket line. And down he goes inside the 20-yard line.
Well, you've seen slam dunks in basketball. This was a slam dunk by Adam Braidwood, number 13, with help from Eric Frampton. But Braidwood just body slammed the return man, Shackelford, right here. Up and over and down.
And there's 23 seconds remaining to play in the ball game. Huskies have no times up. Cougars are leading 28-25. Got him. And that'll do it. Huskies hurrying, trying to get another play.
He needs to just spike the ball here. Stop the clock, get in a huddle. Forget it.
2 seconds. Stand back, running around. Penalty flag. Coming up the field, steps out of bounds. Ball game's over. Unless, of course, the penalty goes the other way. And it does not. The Cougars have come running on the field. Apparently they have been told that the penalty was against Washington.
Holding. Offense. Penalties decline. Game is over.
Penalty decline. Game's over. Music to the ears of the Cougars as they break their losing string in the Apple Cup competition against the Huskies of Washington at 28-25.
And congratulations to you old Cougs for winning an Apple Cup. First time in quite a while. Bill Dobin, his second year off the schneid. And we say goodbye to Keith Gilbertson mercifully.
And hope he has a good and happy life. Once again, our final score, Washington State 28, Washington 25. ABC Sports Online, ESPN.com. Search ABC Sports. Monday night, join Al Michaels, John Madden, the Patriots and the Chiefs. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports Championship Television.
Of course, this big, huge rivalry has just brought all sorts of people into Pullman, from Spokane to Seattle. And you might remember in 2002, of course, after the Husky victory, not a pretty sight down on the field. The fans, of course, providing some
different story tonight with the Cougars winning. Patrick Preston was there talking to all the fans, and he has our story.
So you're going to
give
me a cue. We are here at Martin Stadium, where the scene after the game is incredible for the Cougar fans who have been waiting for this, as you know, for now 6 years. The first time they've won in the past 7 years that the Cougar fans have taken to the field. We'd like to show you what's going on right now in the midfield right now as the Cougar fans are down on the field celebrating. And if we can kind of show you as we go down to the field, you can see the Cougar fans are down this way. Roland, let's go ahead and move the camera a little bit so we can see the folks down on the field. No, we're actually on this camera, Roland. So we'll take a look at the folks down on the field, if we can, pardon with us. And you can see the Cougar fans are down celebrating on the field. And actually, we can't show you, but I can tell you that it's been a kind of an interesting environment here. The band is taken to the field. They've been singing the fight song as everybody is so happy for this big Cougar win. We know that the UW players were able to exit the field very carefully without any kind of concern. There were no incidents, nobody approaching them necessarily to start any fights. But as you can imagine, the Cougar fans not really looking to rub this one into the faces of the UW players. They're just enjoying and savoring this moment. We spoke with a couple of the UW Husky fans about their concerns because of 2 years ago. Here's what they had to say.
Security, we don't get that wild. We'll jump on the field, but we don't get rowdy like they do.
Like, we're just here to watch the game and have a good time, and we just hope we don't get bottles thrown at us, and we hope we don't get injured as a result of being here.
And what an environment from 2 years ago when we saw so many different incidents of bottle throwing, glass and plastic coming down onto the field after the Cougars were defeated in triple overtime by the Huskies, letting their frustrations get the best of them, the fans in that case. In this case today, it hasn't been the same. Luckily, none of those incidents have been repeated. The fans have been very happy about their win, but they have not been obnoxious in any way. They've been very respectful of the UW players, allowing them to leave the field as they're preferring to celebrate with the folks from the Cougars. So you can see that the incident here today has been completely positive as the Cougars just celebrating this big win and getting ready to, well, end the season in a positive note, beating the Huskies for the first time in the past 6 years. Reporting live from Pullman, Patrick Prest, KXOY News 4.
Thank you, Patrick. The Huskies came into this game with a 6-game Apple Cup winning streak, so
Yes, they did.
Cougars had a lot to overcome today.
Boy, the Cougs wanted to win. I wanted to win. Rick Lukens, of course, down on the field. I think he joins us now with highlights of tonight's game. Hi, Rick.
There were over 34,000 fans that showed up for this Apple Cup game, and I guarantee you not a sober one left his seat today as the Cougars pulled out a 3-point victory. Here are the fans. They're obviously very happy. You see this one? Fans up here on the goalpost. Can we see that? They're trying to tear the goalpost down. I'll tell you, they learned their lesson here in 1982. No way those goalposts are coming down. I hope you can hear what I'm saying. It's pandemonium here in Pullman. We'll hear from the Cougar players coming up a little later on. In Pullman, Rick Lukens, KXOY News 4.
Rick, thank you.
Wow.
Of course, we will hear more from him. What a crazy night in Pullman. A great way to end the
Pandemonium is
season.
right.
Yeah, no kidding.